You ready?
I'm ready.
This is your spiritual podcast station, bringing you the uncut, unblocked, and unscripted. This is the only place in the podcast universe giving you a balanced approach and a look at the other side. Everything from A to Z. We are live right now in the 1831 studio. My name is Natia Moore.
And I'm Anthony Flick.
And this is Pastor Anthony Said. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Pastor Anthony Said.
Welcome, and welcome again.
Welcome again.
Yeah.
Come on in the room. Be sure to like, share, comment, and tell somebody that Pastor Anthony Said is on live right now.
Live in effect.
Right now. Come on in the room. Sharing it on my page. How you doing today?
I cannot complain to yourself.
I'm doing good. I'm doing very, very good.
Good.
All right. So, welcome to Pastor Anthony Said. Make sure that you tune in every Tuesday. All our new episodes are available on Tuesdays on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere that podcasts are being broadcast, if you do not already know. We do our live broadcasts on Mondays, but definitely Tuesdays. Make sure you still check out Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all those good places you can listen to the podcast.
Yep. Check us out.
Check us on out.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll pray. Lord, thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for what you're doing, even right now. God, thank you for Pastor Anthony Said. And thank you, God, for giving us another opportunity, Lord, to express you on the earth. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's go. Let us go. Come on in the room, everybody.
Good. How was your day? What's going on with you?
Oh, it was a short day. I actually had to work last night.
Okay.
So not much of the day was had besides trying to catch it with some sleep.
Right.
So yeah, it'll take a day or so to kind of bounce back.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
trying to transition out of that, but that's where we are right now.
Good.
Have you ever done nights? Have I asked you that? Have you ever?
You mean work at night?
Yeah.
On a night shift?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. Not on a 9 to 5.
Okay.
Not on a 9 to 5. I did
But
it a
on
couple
a-
of times
okay.
on a job we had maybe about so I'm 45 now. So I guess in my early 20s, I had to be 19, 20. I was working on I worked for a masonry company.
Mm-hmm.
And we had there were some jobs. There were some jobs in DC.
Mm-hmm.
They were called scale jobs or governmental jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were jobs by the government. And one job we had by the government, one of them government jobs down in D.C., federal jobs rather,
Yeah.
down in D.C., we had to work at night.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we was maybe about 3-4 stories in the basement.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had to work at night. And I think that's the only time I did. But I'm a night owl, so it is what it is.
Okay.
But working
How
at
was
night
your
is
experience?
different.
It is.
Working at night got
It
to
is.
be different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different.
How was the experience?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
It was okay. I ain't no complaints.
Okay.
But you talking 3-4 weeks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
It ain't like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, even one day. I mean, because like I said, I did I think like 13 weeks back to back, and that was intense. But this is just now I'm just on like I think once like every other week, but it still takes a couple days to regroup and come back to balance out. So
Okay.
shout out to those that can do it though. It's some people that have been doing it for 25 and 30 years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, they do.
You're bless you.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I don't. That's not something I want to continue to do.
Good. So where you at today? What's going on with you?
This is where I am. This is where I am.
I mean, what's on your mind today? Like,
I don't.
Wait,
Honestly,
wait.
I'm a little.
yeah.
I'm a little.
Okay.
I'm not in focus right now.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So,
you can start us off.
all right, good. Listen, so we didn't talk about it last week, but we're gonna talk about it this week. The movie Inside Out 2. And
Okay.
so yeah, we did not talk about that last week, and I was going to give commentary on it. I'm not a movie buff. I don't give a whole bunch of movie reviews. I don't do that. And in fact, yesterday while I was before I ministered, I was telling people what kind of things I like doing, I use some choice words, but not too choice, but
I
just
was
some words.
trying to figure out.
They were just
Yeah.
just interesting way of putting it.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I said to the church yesterday, and I repeated today for the sake of the conversation to get it started. I told the church that I'm not homosexual, but I am homosocial and homospiritual, and I'm not homosexual. And so that being the case, homosocial, I like dealing with the same type of people.
Okay.
Homo's the same. So homo's the same. I like being in the same company of people. Homo spiritual, I like being with people that are spiritual, like myself, like-minded people. I'm not homosexual and I'm not homosexual.
Right.
And so I like things that sort of just a little bit, I guess, I like to be entertained, especially in movies.
Right.
I guess the way I would put it, I would like being entertained in regards to movies and things like that, by things that seem to be a little bit different than what you would think a typical pastor would, enjoy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so those are the things I'm sort of interested in. And I don't wrestle with it.
Right.
I've embraced this.
Yeah.
So I don't wrestle with it. So I enjoy it. So you about to say something?
Yeah. When you did your when you started yesterday, I was wondering what made you choose those words in regards to that movie? Like, were you tying it in, like, as far as like I didn't really understand. I was like, are you saying like because you started off saying you're not a homosexual, and then you start kind of talking about the movie. Was somebody like branched them together? Like, what was the connection between the two?
Between what two?
Between the like saying all of those things and then going into the movie. Like, was it any connection, or you just were making that statement and then you just chose to talk about the movie?
You mean connection with homosexuality?
Yeah.
But I said homosocial.
Right. I'm saying, like, what made you choose those and then start talking about the movie? Like, was it a connection you were trying to make with it, or
no,
you just were making a statement and then you just start talking about the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes when I speak, I like to. Sometimes when I do that a lot. And when I talk, oftentimes you can tell where people are.
Okay.
And you can tell how many people. You can tell where people are, and you can also tell how many people actually talk to people.
Okay.
And how many people actually listen to speakers and people who are believe in thought-provoking people. Because if you didn't hear that, if you never heard it before, and it is said a lot when speakers speak, you would have to be at a place where you are accustomed to hearing certain things.
It's not that.
So when you wait, let me finish.
Okay,
so when you hear homo, you go right to sexual. You don't.
Not necessarily. I'm
Yes,
just
you
wondering.
did it.
No, I wasn't. I was just wondering what was the connection between that. It almost seemed like you were It's nothing wrong with the word.
No wrong.
It's not. There's wrong. The connection is not like,
word.
oh, homosexual.
No.
It's just a matter of, I was wondering. I'm asking a general question, like, were you connecting into the movie because you went directly into the movie? That's what I was asking.
And I was saying I do those things because I realized that certain people, they only connected to homosexuality. The word homo isn't connected to anything else.
Right.
It's not connected to homo sapien.
Right.
It's not connected to anything. We only connected to homosexual.
Okay.
And so my question would be, then why did you go there when homo was in front of a whole lot of words?
I didn't go anywhere with it.
You just asked me how did I connect it.
I'm asking you with the whole statement. I didn't just say homosexual.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You
It's
didn't say
recorded.
the other ones.
I said, yes, I did. I said homosexual. You said all the other ones that
so
you mentioned.
So you said homosexual, I said the other ones.
Right.
So
I'm saying is the words that you chose to use before you started, homosexual, homosexual, all the homos that you used.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm asking, was there a connection between where you were going in, or was that just like an introduction? That's all I was asking.
No.
Was it a connection between that and as you were going into the movie?
No.
Because when you introduced it yesterday, it sounded like it was bridging it all together as you were telling us how you saw the movie. So that's what I was wondering.
No,
was there any connection
because
to
I
it?
didn't tell you what movie I saw.
You did.
I said
I'm talking about yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday I named a couple of movies.
You named that movie as well.
What movie?
Inside Out. As you were giving an introduction. That's why I was just asking, was it any connection to it?
So you asked any connection to homosexuality and the movie Inside Out.
Were you making a bridge between what you were saying with the homos and the movie? Because the way you kind of led into it, it sounded like you were connecting it. And so I was just asking, was there a connection, or were you just making a blanket statement and then you went into the movie?
It was a play.
That was it. That was all I was asking.
But I'm saying I do that so I can have conversations like this because I saw everybody just sit up. When I said it, I mean, it got everybody's attention. In fact, I mentioned it to one of the members. They laughed at it too, and everybody just sat up and got sort of but certain things grab people's attention. And I didn't have to say that word, but certain words make you it sort of puts you at a place where, like, where are you going with this?
Okay.
And I'm not going nowhere. But because we are accustomed to certain things, when you say certain things, it puts you in a certain light. So no, there was no connection at all.
Okay.
Between
That was all I was.
Yeah, I know,
wondering.
but there is what I'm saying is there was a tactic
Okay.
to it. And so when I get up and do those things, I know what I'm doing to bring out certain conversations about a certain thing. So yeah, I did it like that. But no, there was no connection between that and that. So when I started saying that, it was I enjoy things that was just different than what you would call. It's different than that just would not entertain or would suppose to entertain the quote unquote average Christian. But all of us are different.
Right.
And since all of us are different, all of us got different likes and different likabilities and stuff. So my question to most people would be, have we come to a place where we are okay with it, and can we explain it?
Absolutely. I don't even think that when you, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone in the room, but for me, I wasn't taken back by it because, I mean, it is what it is. It was more random, like the way it kind of started, which is fine. But that's why I was wondering, was it a connection? Because it sounded like it was going into, like an introduction or how you were bringing it. It sounded like it was all fitting together, and that's why I was just wondering, was it connected? I'm sure maybe it could have made some people uncomfortable, but
a lot of people,
or
curious, or attentive, or where does it come? It did do that. I saw the room like,
I mean, it was random.
I saw the
that's
room
why I'm like, that's why I was like,
whoa.
was it connected to something, or just like, hey, wake up? All right, we're going to the next thing. That's why I was like, is it?
Yeah, no connection. Just
Okay.
just a choice of words.
Okay.
And so those are the things. So I went to go see, but that's it. So I enjoy certain things.
Okay.
And I only said it because I don't like cartoons.
Right.
I don't like Pixar. I'm not a fan of Disney. I can care less about those things.
Mm-hmm.
I can go when I go to the movies and see those things. I usually go to sleep when I do see them.
Okay.
So it's like it's not a thing for me. But the kids wanted me to go see Inside Out. In fact, they said they would take me for Father's Day.
Right.
Whatever. So I went to go see the movie, and I said, well, when I get there, I'm going to sleep. That was my first words were, I am going to sleep. And what woke me up was the young girl, the young lady, the mom and dad, and the young lady. And I didn't see the first one. So the young lady, mom and dad. And when I saw the control center.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was about.
Okay.
When I saw the control center, I immediately knew. I immediately knew what the movie was, and it sparked my interest from there. And this is going to be good.
Okay.
And this is going to be good. And so that's what I seen. And then when I watched the movie, I was up I stayed woke the entire movie. When I watched the movie, I said, okay, now this is good. I am going to talk about this movie, and we're gonna do what we got to do. And so that's it.
Yeah. I mean, so I am actually a Disney movie type of person. I love all of those movies. And honestly, they all have a lot of like remarkable meanings like that. I'm not saying it's the same as that, but it's really, I mean, they say they're for children, but really like we can get like some serious revelations out of like the Disney movies. So do you think you'll give more of those movies a chance?
Heck no.
So you think this was just one in a million?
Oh my God! If I believe that it was 1 in a million. Yeah,
1 in a million
if
for you.
Prince and Zella wouldn't have said nothing, this would not be a thing.
Okay.
No. I do not like stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't like anything. I don't like anything immature. I don't like anything young. I don't like anything younger than me. I don't like anything, and I'm younger than me. I don't like anything that's in that world of fantasy, and I just don't like that stuff.
Okay.
When I look at it,
Okay. Yeah, I can grab whatever out of it.
I know that's right. I see that stuff. Okay. Put something real on.
Okay.
Put something real on, please.
Just age wise, or just in general?
When I remember being in 8 years old, And I remember being 8 years old and I'm looking in the mirror and wondering when was I gonna get a mustache. I remember being 9 years old and hate going to Chuck E. Cheese. I hated going to Chuck E. Cheese. I remember being a kid and my grandmother had a birthday party for all of us. Me, my cousin Gary, my other cousin Reese, all of us born in April. So of course they do what all we just had one birthday party.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And I sat in the other room. I didn't even sit in the room with them because I felt like it was just I'm not sitting here
Do
playing.
you remember
Spider-Man.
being a kid? Like, were you a kid? Like,
I
I feel like you kind of skipped that age.
I
Like,
was always an old man. I was
Wow.
always an old man. And so I just didn't like that stuff. I just didn't. Okay, let's get out of this little whatever kid body I'm in. Come on, adulthood. Please hurry up.
Interesting.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Okay.
And so yeah, it is what it is. But you know,
Yeah.
so I like this movie.
Okay.
So back to the movie. Enough
Yeah.
about getting back to the
All
movie.
right.
So when I saw the movie, the first thing was the control center, and then I saw, and immediately when I started watching the characters, and I'm saying, okay, so what's going on with this movie? And the first thing I saw was a young girl playing hockey. Right, and that's when I saw. I said, okay, this is based on a young lady playing hockey, little young girl playing hockey. I think she's going from elementary
13.
school.
I think she was turning 13 or something.
Okay,
She would be
yeah,
going to high school,
right?
the
Going to high
following year.
school. That's right. So the young lady be going to high school, and when I saw her, it was like she was young and a kid. That something was going on upstairs in the control room.
Right.
And then one day, and then the next morning, she woke up, a couple of pimples
Yeah.
on her face, and then it was like, "Mom, why you busting my room?"
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, I remember that moment.
Okay.
I remember the moment when I'd be like, you know what, this is, I'm
different.
different. Something else went on inside of me. I'm different. So I noticed that. And I remember that moment, and I said, this is going to be good.
Okay.
This is going to be good.
Yeah. I guess just some context for anybody who hasn't seen the movie or not really familiar with it in general.
Spoiler
Right.
alert. Better turn it off. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah. So the first movie, I'm not going to go into the first, I'm just going to give like a little bit of context about it. Like the first movie was about a little girl. And basically, as you're mentioning, like the control center or whatever, it shows how our brains, how we almost formulate certain emotions that we have. And they talked about like the emotion of joy, I think fear. There were a bunch of different emotions that basically are regulated in our minds and how we decide to, interpret like what happens to us as far as in the situations. And so it skips forward, like you said, like the young girl in high school. First it started with her in like elementary school in the first one. And she has all of these memories and what memories she gets to choose to keep and what memories she wants to disappear, things that are embarrassing to her and all of that kind of stuff. So fast forward to now. This is her in high school or getting ready to go to high school, right? Because she's being chosen for like a hockey team.
Yeah.
And so that's just to speed you up with what is going on with this like control center situation. So what was interesting is that they added like new controls, I guess, from the last one.
New controls and new emotions.
New emotions in the control center.
In the control center.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they added new emotions. What and the things that got me before those. I don't know if did the new emotions come out or before she went. Did the new emotions arise before she went to camp, or after she went to the camp?
I'm trying to remember.
After camp.
Yeah.
So she went to camp first, then the emotions.
She was preparing, I think, to go to camp, and then we start seeing those new emotions starting to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but because I'm trying to recall when something happened where the control just started getting whack at first, right? And the old emotions was trying to control it.
When she found out, I think that her friends weren't going with her to school, going to go with her the following year to high school. They were going to a different school.
Right.
It started bringing on, I think, anxiety, and it started bringing on boredom and all these different new emotions that she had never experienced. I think it was around that time.
Right, but
she was transitioning.
But I thought when it came on, the control center was just going off, and the previous or the current emotions couldn't control it.
Right, those old emotions from her childhood.
Couldn't control
She
it.
couldn't. They no longer really could control it. But we weren't really introduced to the new emotions.
So that happened first, right?
Yes.
So what happened? So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
So what happened first is her wherever she was going, what she had couldn't control it.
Right.
I think that's what
Yes.
whatever she had, whatever was going on, whatever was going on in her life at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I think it was fear, anger, joy, and disgust.
Yes.
I think that was it. And it was one more because it was 5 of them. But it was fear,
Sadness.
anger. Yeah. Okay. Fear, sadness. It was sadness. Fear, anger, disgust, joy, and sadness. So it looked like joy was the one that was really that knew how to.
She was in charge.
She was in charge of all the buttons,
even though she was outnumbered by the goodness in the, like, from good and bad, if that makes sense.
What you mean?
Like, joy was the only positive emotion. The other emotions were kind of more somber, like sadness and anger. Like, they kind of were on a, you know what I mean? She was
and I think that may be a part of childhood because children play more than they show those other emotions. Even though those other emotions are there, they play too much. They got too much play. So that joy, I think I call it joy. Joy is to call it joy. I don't know because I mean, in when we talk about joy, like in the Bible country, we talk about joy. We know the joy of the Lord and all this stuff like that. We talk about joy.
Yeah.
Generally, people don't tie joy to happiness. They make joy something a little bit deeper than happiness.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I guess, and I'm guessing it's about the nuances of the word. I'm thinking the different nomenclatures of the actual trying to express this emotion. But they were saying, hey, joy is something that comes from the soul, where you can be happy about anything.
Right, which is a gladness, right, or a sense of happiness.
It's a sense of happiness. I think it's one in the same. I think that in the Christian faith, I think we separate it because we can try to find joy in sorrow.
Okay.
And I don't think you can find happiness in sorrow, but you can find joy in sorrow. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just saying somebody who was in a sad situation. I'll put it this way: I've seen people find joy in a funeral. I'm not happy, but it's joy. And I've been to a whole lot of funerals. I mean, when people take off in a dance. I mean, their loved one is laying there, heart heavy. My father, and the joy of the Lord is our strength. It doesn't say happiness of the Lord, but it does say the joy of the Lord, because at that moment there is no happiness, but there is something that's from within that causes me to celebrate something. And I believe that's why we say what we say when we say there's a difference between joy and happiness, even though I believe they may be one in the same. However, I have seen those instances when people were in a sad situation and still express joy. You got something to say about it?
I don't know. I think that they're the same.
Okay.
I think that there may be like an inner, like, guilt that people feel that if there is a sense of happiness or joy or gladness that kind of comes over them, that people are like, no, I'm not happy because this is the moment I'm in and I shouldn't be happy or I shouldn't feel joy right now. But I don't know. To me, I kind of think that they're all the same.
I mean,
but I understand what you're saying.
Can you put a definition up?
Yeah.
Put a definition. See if there's a difference.
Sure.
Yeah, but when we see joy, and like I said, in some cases one and the same. But when we preach about it more in church, I think we're talking from that place. But you're saying that even though people are in a sad situation, you think they are expressing some type of happiness when they praise the Lord? I think when they say
that they have joy, that is a form of happiness.
Okay.
But I think that in that kind of situation, I believe that it's a guilty thing. Like, I shouldn't feel happiness. I shouldn't feel joy right now. I'm supposed to be sad.
So you're saying when people dance in church, it comes from guilt?
No, that's not what I said at all.
What are you saying?
I said that I think that when people are in a sad situation and there is a sense of joy that comes over them or a sense of happiness, in a moment like a funeral or something like a sad situation, I feel as though there's a sense of guilt that makes people like, I should not be happy right now. I shouldn't be expressing.
But you think they are.
What I'm saying is, in that moment, if you're like when people are shouting or if people get a memory that makes them happy or that a sense of joy or happiness or gladness comes over the person while they're sad, but they still have that moment of happiness or joy, their inner guilt makes them feel like I shouldn't have this feeling or this moment right now, even though it might be short, it may be long, but that moment kind of changes. Like, no, I shouldn't be guilt. I shouldn't feel happiness or joy. And so they go back into the sadness. So they don't really acknowledge that moment at that time, to me.
Oh, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Okay.
Yeah. Because so where is the joy that comes so if I'm not feeling happy, but then you pull on joy to get strength? I'm not happy.
Again.
See, okay, so
I'm not saying that you would be in a state of happiness. Like, no, I'm not saying that. Okay.
I'm trying to say that.
Okay.
So when someone is worshiping or praising God at a funeral,
okay,
dark day, but they pull on the joy of the Lord or a certain level of praise, or we see it in church all the time.
Yeah.
Are you saying that they are at that moment happy?
I'm saying in that moment they found a piece of joy. They found a piece of happiness. Because to me it's the same.
They the same.
To me, joy and happiness is the same, and gladness, it's all in the same. To me, it's all the same. So yes, when they pull on that moment of joy, even if it's for a moment, I think that yes, they become happy in that moment. They become joyful in that moment, or they become glad in that moment. Not that they're not still dealing with the sadness of what's going on, but in that moment they found a piece of that joy or the happiness or that upliftingness, if that's a word, and that kind of pushes them forward. But in doing that, there's like this guilty thing, like I am not supposed to be happy right now, like, and we almost kind of remind ourselves to go back to sadness to a certain extent. Like we don't allow, like we have that moment and then we just kind of move past it.
So it must never happen to you.
Yeah, I've had those moments at funerals and in life in general. If there's a moment where I'm feeling sadness and I find the joy, I have experienced moments where I'm like, I shouldn't be feeling like this. And I try my best not to do that or allow myself to do that. But yeah, I think we talk ourselves into certain things. We allow ourselves to go back into things based off of our own guilt. So what we should be experiencing in that moment.
Respect. So with that experience of joy, so at a funeral, when we're experiencing that kind of sadness or those heavy moments, so I can only talk for myself now. So when at those moments, the feeling of joy is not happiness, is not tied to it. It is more pulling on something that I am accustomed to, like praise, that can give me a strength to get through what I'm dealing with. But I don't recall having any moments of happiness or a moment where, wow, I'm happy, then I got to go back. I should feel bad. I'm not supposed to be happy. I don't know if that's wrestling. But this just I don't know if you would be, if you would even identify. What I'm saying is that I think we do it subconsciously. I said I respect it. I'm just talking about what I feel. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not talking about nobody else. So at that moment when I experience those things, and you fall into a moment of praise, you find out when to praise. In my own experience, I've discovered I don't even think I've ever danced at a funeral. I don't think I've ever. Let me try to see. I'm trying to play back in my mind. I don't think I've ever did a praise dance at a funeral. I don't think I've ever done that. I've been in a place where I had to encourage other people. I made other people laugh and had to minister and just to get them through the day. So I know those emotions. But I don't think I've ever broke out in a dance at a funeral. I don't think I have. But those moments of praise gives us, and so we are accustomed to praising, accustomed to dancing, accustomed to worshiping. I mean, it's in our DNA, it's in our blood, it's in who we are and what we do. Mm-hmm. And with that, we go to what we know to get us over the moment. And so if praise is your go-to that got you over certain things, I believe that is joy. Or when you're going through something and you hear a piece of music, and the music or the song gives you joy. Like the moment is completely sad, and I just and then that song gives me joy in my sadness, but I don't ever remember feeling.
Then what is joy to you?
And that's what I mean by, to me, joy is deeper than happiness, because I don't remember feeling happy or a moment of happiness in that
then what
moment
is
of sadness.
Joy How would you describe it?
It's deeper than happiness.
Like when you say deeper, like
yes,
what is it? What does that mean?
It is
deeper.
if I had to express what joy is an emotion that comes from the soul. That's what joy is. It is deeper than an emotion that comes from the experience. It is something that comes from within. Something that I had to have with God. I had a relationship. I have a relationship with God. I have a relationship with my faith, and it's connected to that. Mm-hmm. So the emotion, the experience or the condition is sad, but something within helps me to find a level of joy, and that's why I mean, like, it's deeper than just the emotion, because happiness is an emotion. I don't believe joy is just an emotion. I think joy is something deeper than the emotion, because I can actually get strength from expressing or tapping into what I consider joy. And this is why I believe that the Bible says the joy of the Lord is our strength. And when you see those things, you find joy is what you find to help you get through the day. I believe joy is what the slaves did when they were singing to help them get through them long days in the cotton field. That's what I believe joy is. I believe joy is something that's found from within. Because I'm not happy about being in, if I'm a slave, I'm not happy about being in, 100-degree weather picking cotton. There is no, wow, I got a moment. No, it's just heavy. But when I sing songs, those songs that we sung brought us a sense of joy that helped us get through the day. So that's what I believe joy is. And that's why I say it's deeper than just the emotion of happiness. Just to me, that's how I believe. That's what I believe. And that's what I've experienced for myself in those moments of sadness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I believe.
I guess it's different for each person.
Yeah. So would you find definition?
I found a couple definitions. But I kind of like what you just said, kind of just like explain like what I was kind of saying to a certain extent.
No, but you were saying that they're the same.
Yeah, I'm saying they're the same, but
I'm saying they're different.
Not saying that part. I'm talking about the portion of the because I think it's like the guilt in the word happiness. Like there's like a problem with the word happiness. Like I'm not happy in this month. Like it's
I'm not happy.
But joy is a happiness. It's a gladness. All right, so this definition says, there's a couple different things I found. So, joy, a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. Okay. Feeling of great pleasure and happiness. It can come from success, good fortune, or sense of well-being. It's a gladness, something that gives joy, a joy to behold is the definition. I saw something here that says joy, the two words joy and happiness are often used together, and they are practically used together in most dictionaries, and the differences can deal with your experience. And it just kind of plays on words like that. So again, I mean, I guess it's just different for each person. But anyway, sometimes when I look at things, I kind of just see like I guess maybe sometimes we have a difficult time in saying, which is like it's guilt a little bit to me. Like I can't say that I'm feeling a sense of happiness in this moment because I shouldn't feel like this. So I just say I have joy, but joy is like it's the same. I mean, you could say happiness, but it's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
So anyway,
all right, let's keep it moving. We just agree to disagree.
We agree to disagree.
Yeah. So
and you can put it in the comments, guys.
They comment.
Joy.
Joy is beyond things. Somebody said joy is not contingent upon things. So that's what I'm getting right now. Joy is not contingent upon things, and then joy is beyond things. Okay. And so back to the story. So when you saw joy, I'm like, okay, is this joy or is this happiness? And that's what I'm saying when I'm seeing the character that's that plays the emotion joy. Like, is this joy or is this happiness? And when I saw that, I'm saying, children express joy, and joy is the thing that controls everything. And in a child's life, of course, because children, they got that play thing. And when the controls were getting out of hand, I saw that joy could not contain where she was going, which meant that she didn't need as much joy where she was going. And this was the first part I started seeing about us. And I'm like, this is going to be good, because we don't know what emotion to employ for a certain situation or circumstance. And a lot of people are just you just bring at some point as we get older. And even in ministry, and this is what I mean by like the adults and the things like we should be listening to it, we should read, we should watch this movie, because even adults don't know what experience or what emotion to bring to, or how should they approach. They don't know what emotion to use when they approach in certain situations. So I've seen people approach work with, here I go again. And I've seen people approach paying bills with sadness.
Oh yeah.
I'm serious. I mean, these
We
are
don't
whole
find the
adults.
balance in the emotions.
Well, it don't belong there.
All of it belongs there. I think all of it is necessary.
Sadness, okay, so you believe sadness belongs in paying bills.
I believe that there's a balance about it. There's a balance in all of it.
Let's hear it.
I don't know. I think that all of those emotions are used in all of our daily lives. And I think that finding the balance, not saying that there should be an overabundance of sadness, which if the whole thing is just like, oh, I don't want to pay my bills. But I don't know. I just think that there's, I guess, the opposite side of the opposite polarities or whatever. Like there's goodness in it and there's sadness in it. Like there's a balance in all of these things that we do. I don't think that there's just all joy. And I think I thought that was one of the big points in the movie, was that they tried to eliminate some of those emotions. But by the end, right? Not necessarily, but they tried to eliminate the joy in the situations, and everything went haywire. Okay. So not having that full balance of all, like at the end, they all had to come together and like kind of balance the emotions.
All right, so let's spar a little bit.
Okay.
She played too much when she got to the camp, because they kept holding their phones up at like little girls.
She was in control.
Joy didn't belong in that moment.
She was in control. It's not that she didn't, but to me, it wasn't that she didn't belong in that moment. She was in control.
Well, she was in control. You want okay? We playing on words, good. Then she wasn't in control.
I'm not playing on words.
Okay, then let's be so we're not playing on words. So so we have to stick with etymology, and we have to stick with the words. Then and we have to stick. Let's stay there. Okay, so her leading emotion should not have been joy. When the young girl, so what happened was, let's go back to the movie. When we went to the movie, they was the young girl, I don't even know her name, but the young girl was actually in a locker room. And while she was in the locker room with a lot of older young ladies and her little friends, right. Joy came up, and the lady was saying that, the coach was saying, it's time to lock in and get ready for, and everybody else was just quiet. And while everybody else was quiet, the leading emotion, which was the former emotion, or the emotion that took over her, and the emotion that was prevailing in her childhood, that emotion was, up front. So that emotion being up front caused everyone else to get in trouble, because she should not have employed that emotion during that moment.
So much of it.
Okay, so much of that emotion. So much of that emotion during that moment, which allowed everybody else to get in trouble.
Right.
And I'm saying even adults approach something like paying bills with the wrong emotion, or with the emotion that's leading, or with sadness. And so why is sadness connected to this? And in my opinion, when I see a lot of people do these things, I see that they are sad every time. They get so sad when they pay bills that they sad before Friday comes, because they know they got to pay bills.
Yeah,
I've seen this, and they get so sad, like, oh, I ain't got no money. But you are living. Mm-hmm. You are living.
You're living.
This is part of your lifestyle. This is what you paid for. This is what you worked for. And this is what you applied for. This is what you got a loan for. You didn't feel that feeling when you actually, got approved for the car. You got approved for this, approved for that. You got approved, and happiness was over you. You just so glad, full of joy when you got it. But as soon as the note come, this overwhelming feeling of sadness jumps on you.
Sadness was in control at that time.
Sadness, yeah. So now when sadness get control, I feel like we don't know how to employ the proper spirit or emotion when we doing certain things. And a sense of maturity say, you know what? when I'm approaching this, I got to approach it with a level of maturity or, some sincerity, some wit about myself. Because when I don't, what'll happen, you'll get so upset that you don't want to pay that in order to, it's weird, y'all, but I'm going to talk this out. It's weird. In order to compensate for the sadness, you won't pay the bill, spend the money, and go to the club. That's why. Wait a minute. And you go to the club to feel joy, to get over the sadness,
To escape.
of having to pay something that you created.
Right.
Or to pay for something you created, and you go back through this cycles every week,
Every month,
not
every
only
week, every day.
not only clubs, y'all. We do the same thing in church.
Oh yeah. Restaurants, whatever
we do
your
the same
poison is.
thing. So we are now we find ourselves in this cycle, trying to fix something when really you just didn't approach it with the proper emotion. And when I saw that, I said, adults need to see this. Because adults need to know and see that there is a certain emotion that goes with certain things that we are dealing with in life. And if we properly approach it, I guarantee you it'll make us feel a little bit better. It'll make us have understanding. And then when it's time for us to express those moments of joy and peace and all that good stuff and everything else we have, then we can, you know what? Yeah. We can move forward and say, yeah, I can do this. I believe anger has a good place in this. I believe anger is a good place, not sadness, but anger. And a person should be angered by the fact that they, in my opinion, you should have a healthy level of anger when you know that you are at a place where you should not be. Or when you know you could be at a better place and you're currently feeling like the place that I'm in is not the place for me.
Okay.
Sadness will keep you there. A healthy level of anger will make you say, you know what, I got to get out of this.
Okay.
And jump out of this. Like, no, this ain't mine. This ain't it. You know, that devil is a liar. You got that anger. You just mad like, nah, this ain't for me. I got to move. I believe a healthy level of anger in that kind of situation can help you get out and get to a better place. Sadness can keep you there, almost allowing you to feel depressed, compressed, in a place where you feel like you shouldn't be. Anger says, you know what, I don't have to deal with this. There's a little fire under your belt.
Yeah.
Let me hear your explanation. This is how I feel.
I think that it's important to have a balance of most of those emotions, including sadness. I think joy, sadness, anger. I think all of those are important to have like a balance from all of those things. Anger. All right, so let me start with sadness. I think sadness is necessary because even in paying bills to a certain extent, again, when I pay my bills, I don't have a great sense of sadness, but I think the sadness kind of plays into a part of like a grief because it's a loss of what you're giving.
Well,
So there's a grieving.
I want my face to see this one.
So it's a
woo,
to me that's a it's a grieving there. Like, so I'm grieving, even though I'm like accepting what's happening. I'm going through all of these different stages like while I'm doing this.
So she's saying grieving is paying bills is grief.
I'm saying that the sadness
tied them two
associated.
together.
Yeah, I'm saying the sadness associated with paying a bill, or just in general, or just our emotions in general. Like, I'm not just saying this is for a bill, but I'm saying that you can tie this to me with all of the situations that we deal with. There to me should be a balance of a healthy balance of all of
What
those
does that mean?
emotions, meaning not too much of one and not too much of the other. So there needs to be a sense of joy there. There needs to be a sense of gladness, upliftingness in everything that I do. I don't need to, let me finish. I don't need to go, okay. I don't need to go overboard because we see like in the movie, the joy went overboard and it became like immaturity, showed up as immaturity. So I need to have a certain amount of joy so that I'm not, number one, immature in the moment. And I don't need to have so little of joy that I'm not able to express like some sense of happiness or gladness in that moment. The sadness in it is important because, like I said, it's the grieving of a thing, whatever it is that I'm giving away, or whatever the case may be. Like, the sadness is still kind of necessary, not an overabundance of sadness, because then it can lead to a depression or those kind of things. So, but a healthy balance of understanding what I'm losing, or understanding why I am a little sad to let that go, or I am a little sad that this may be coming in. Finding the balance in it is important. The anger is important as well, not an overabundance of anger, because anger can be detrimental. It can be dangerous. It can be hazardous for people that are around you. You can hurt people with anger, but it's still a part of the cycle. It's still a part of life, and it's still a part of the emotions. I have to have some aggression to defend myself to a certain extent, or to defend a person that is in my, all of those to me have a responsibility. Now, as far as anxiety, I think that as a human being, there is a sense of anxiety or a sense of fear that just naturally comes with who we are in general. It's just like, what are you going to do with the fear? If I'm going to live in the fear, I'm not going to live in the fear. What am I going to do? So a healthy balance of it is all a part of who our makeup, I believe. So that's what I think the balance is.
This is something. This is wild. This is wild. But this is Natia Moore gospel. This is wild. So she is saying, if I'm correct, you got to help me when I'm correct. I'm got to help me when I'm correct. Are you telling me that everything you deal with, everything you approach, every event, everything you deal with, you got a piece of sadness with it?
There's some kind of sadness
you
associated.
You have a sadness. So there was sadness.
And being a balanced individual, yes.
Okay, so what is the sadness to this podcast?
The sadness to this podcast would have to be, it would depend on, I guess, the subject matter. You mean in general, just podcasts in general?
To Pastor Anthony said, you said that there is some sadness with everything. Mm-hmm. So what is the sadness associated with this podcast?
I guess the sadness associated with the podcast would be, I mean, it could be a number of things. It depends on how you address it. If you make it more personal, you can personalize it as to the things that you maybe wanted to say, should have said. The people that you're reaching, that could be like a balance in the set. It just really depends on, that would be situational. Like, I would need an actual, like, to give you like a really good example. Maybe if I have some more think time, I can give you a better example of sadness for the podcast. But it's not all happiness. So what I'm saying is everything in life, and we know that. But we
bringing things up.
Right.
But I'm not mad.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm not saying
like,
that.
It's a balance to everything.
Yes, but
so the podcast is not all happiness, joy. Like, it's not just that. There's a balance.
But there is some. But if it's not all happiness, then you can explain the happiness. Then what is the sadness?
Give me a minute. Let me try to articulate it in a way. Let me give me a think time to articulate, because it's definitely sadness to this podcast.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
For sure. There's anger. There's all of those emotions are still expressed in it.
Podcast, what is the sadness? Because you're saying that every emotion is necessary
in everything
we do.
Yes.
And I'm saying it's not, but we're not saying right or wrong. We're just trying to just explain yourself. I'm saying it's not. I'm saying that all those emotions are in us, but they don't have to be what we present. I don't believe that we have to have a healthy, all these things come to the table. There is no sadness when I preach. There is no sadness.
I think so.
Okay, I mean,
and again, it's the guilty part.
You said it. You said it. You go ahead. I'm not. There was no guilt when I preach.
No, I'm saying the guilty part of it saying the word sadness.
What you want me to say? We're talking about it.
I know. I'm just saying that there's a guilt when some of those words are said. It's like it's not a bad thing. Like, sadness is not a.
We're not saying bad or good. We're not using the bad. We're not using good. I'm saying when I minister the gospel on a Sunday morning, sadness is not. Sadness is not on the table. It's not.
It
Let me
is.
finish. Because you said it's on yours, so that means that when
It's on
you,
yours too.
Okay, so now you're telling me how I feel.
No, I'm not telling you how
Listen,
you feel.
let me finish. Can
Go
I
ahead.
get
I'm
my
sorry.
say?
Go ahead.
Because you couldn't explain yours.
I could explain.
No,
it.
you told me
I
give you a
said, give
minute.
me a few minutes to
All right,
think.
then, I don't have-
But you're still saying something, and I'm just addressing what you're saying.
Okay, so
I'll let you finish
but
first.
Here's one thing I'm asking. Let me talk about me, and then let you talk about you.
No, so I can't say anything about what you're
I'm
saying.
saying how I
You
feel.
saying stuff about
no,
what-
no, no,
how
no,
I
no,
feel.
no,
This is
no,
what
no,
you're
no,
saying
no,
right
no,
now.
no, we're not doing that.
Oh, that's the conversation.
No, it's not. The conversation is not for me to tell you how you feel.
No, I'm not trying to tell you how
You
feel.
did. You said sadness is when
I'm
when
not
you're
trying
preaching.
to tell you how you feel.
So let me tell.
But based off of what you're saying, I'm saying that there's a disagreement with that because it's that
Only
that
because,
may not
only
be the
because
approach.
only because of you. So only because how you feel about your approach to it. That ain't how I feel.
That's fine. You can
All
feel
right.
how you feel.
All right, good. So now I'm only expressing my feelings.
Okay.
Okay. I do not approach the gospel with any level of sadness.
Okay.
There is no sadness when I'm studying. There is no sadness when I'm preaching. There is no sadness in the gospel that I speak. There is no sadness. Now, number 2, there is no sadness.
And we got comments when you're done.
Okay, good. There is no sadness when certain things I do. There is no sadness approach to it. There is no sadness in it. I don't approach it with sadness. And we should be mature enough to know how we feel about a certain situation. We should at least give ourselves that. I mean, 45 years on the earth, I should at least know what these things feel like. So there is no sadness with these emotions. There used to be, a long time ago, there used to be sadness when I paid my bills. And that's how I'm able to address this. I used to pay my bill like, man, I don't want to pay this. Until I got a little bit more mature to say, wait a minute, I made this. And since I made this, I don't have to bring sadness. I don't have to bring sadness to the table because this is the thing I made. This is the thing I created. This is what I wanted. And if I know what I'm doing and I know the way I'm doing it and I know what it's producing in my life, then that emotion is not present. I remember when it was present. Now it's not.
Okay.
So sadness, no. What else? Sometimes when I work extremely hard. So in construction, you can work extremely hard in construction. In construction, I've done construction for a long time. 110-degree weather. People are like, oh my goodness, this ain't. How could you do that? This ain't. You know what I'm saying? It's too hot, or it's too this. And I'm at a place of complete joy. I mean, it looks like the day is hard. And it looks like I'm not having fun. And it looks like my day is difficult. But I am enjoying that because I have this DIYer in me that just love to figure out how can I do something, create something, change something, and that brings me a level of joy, whether it's 110 degrees or whether it's 32 degrees. It brings me joy. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So there is no that's the emotion that I approach it with.
Okay.
And so that's all that's exactly how I
that's
feel
fine.
about it.
Yeah.
So there are no I don't believe that we all have to bring every emotion to every event and balance all the emotions out.
Okay.
Go for it.
So a couple things I hope I don't forget. So the first thing is I'm not trying to change what you feel about what you're doing in life. I'm just, when you say certain things, like for example with the preaching, like I'm not saying that your preaching makes anyone sad.
No, me.
Or I'm just saying, but you're preaching it to the congregation.
We're not talking about
I
other
am
people.
talking about
But
that.
you were talking about me.
Right, but listen.
Can you talk what you're singing
No, I can when I finish talking about you.
See?
When I finish talking about you.
See, that's what I'm talking. Okay,
so
now
if
we
we're
all got
talking,
about it.
So if we're talking about
now you want to talk about me. Talk about
So when
Tia.
you're talking about preaching, because I want to make this clear to at least from what we're talking about. So as far as when we're talking about preaching, it don't have to be Anthony Flicken's preaching.
I'm talking about me.
It could be anybody's preaching.
No. We talking
in general.
Why are you talking about other people?
Okay. So if we're talking about, because you just said, don't talk about me and all that.
No.
Stop, because you're about to make me
talking
forget
about
what I'm
me
saying.
and you got to talk about you,
So if we're
Tia.
I will when I'm done talking about you.
You got to be straight
so
up,
if we're
Tia.
talking about you and when we're talking
Tia,
about
we're
your
not.
preaching, see stuff like this is what we saying.
Because I can't
So
have
we're
you
talking about
my
so if we're
experience.
talking about you preaching,
Someone you're
because you're
singing.
preaching it to
Oh
us.
my God.
in the congregation.
I can't do no
All
more.
I'm saying is,
This is terrible.
with it,
This is terrible.
there is a sense of sadness
Not
that
with
comes
me.
with it, because there are certain things that you unlock in the word that causes people to have to walk away from some things. It causes people to experience like some immediate, like I'm not changing anything,
You're changing the
but
narrative.
it causes people to have some immediate life-changing moments. And so
You
with
changing
those
that.
moments, like it makes you literally, you go through a sense of all of these
That's the
different
audience.
emotions. That's what I'm referring to.
Don't talk about the audience. Why
I
you talking
am
about me?
talking because I'm referring to you. You were talking about preaching in general.
No, I wasn't talking about mine.
Right. So with your preaching, what I'm
How does it make
can you
me
just stop?
feel?
Can
I
you
can't,
stop?
'cause you
because
can't.
I can't get it out if you keep
Because
on
you-
interjecting. If you
you
don't
have
understand,
to-
that's on you. Take a second and be quiet, and then you can understand what I'm saying.
You can't. I can't let you.
You can't understand. You won't understand if you keep talking.
All right, so I'll let you have it.
Thank you.
I'm just
So,
let you finish this.
all right,
Go
whatever.
ahead, T.
So,
Go
like I
ahead. This
said,
makes no
in
sense.
regards to preaching, let me get the whole thing out. So, without being interrupted, in regards to preaching, if you're preaching from the outside, from the congregation that's receiving it, what I'm saying is that there are, even though you may not go into creating the sermon or writing the sermon or ministering it with sadness, what I'm saying is that that emotion is something that is expressed in it because it causes people to change. And in changing, this doesn't always make you have joy. Sometimes there is sadness associated with it because it's a breaking away. It's a moving away of something. It's a maturing of the mind. It's a maturing of the soul. And that sometimes can cause some sadness. It makes you go through those various stages, and it's not always happy, happy, joy, joy, gladness, gladness, shout, shout. Sometimes it makes you grieve, grieve while you're going through those changes. That's all I'm saying in regards to the emotional phase of that. And I feel like all of those emotions are important, and all of those emotions are used regardless of that. Same thing with me with when I sing. If I'm ministering and I'm singing, there are some songs that make you reflect on some past situations. It doesn't always put a smile on people's face. Sometimes it makes you reflect and go through those various changes. And if it sparks a change, if it sparks a memory, it makes you think about like those times where you lost this or where you received this. It makes you go through all of those different emotions. What I'm saying is it's important for people to have a balance of all of those emotions, not to eliminate sadness because I'm afraid of the word. And I think that when I say sadness, it means that's it, like depression and all of that. If you have an unhealthy amount of sadness, yes, I believe it will resort in depression and all of those things for sure. But if you have a balanced amount of all of those emotions, then you have a balanced individual. You don't have a person that's just all happy joy and then you disrupt the control panel. Or a person that's all sadness and everybody's blue and nothing can get done because you're in a funk. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the balanced approach of it. So that's what I was saying as far as that.
Now, you got it out?
I think so.
Okay, good. That had nothing to do with me.
Yes, it did.
Let me finish.
Yes,
No, you
it
can't
did.
I'll let you get yours out. Whatever.
I can still say something.
You see, and that's my point. This ain't no balanced conversation.
It is.
It can't be a balanced conversation because you are not expressing how you feel when you do something. Let me finish. You actually express how the people felt from what I was doing.
Yes, that was
Wait,
what my
stop.
point
No,
was.
wait a minute. But I stood up and I just said, I don't feel sadness.
You don't.
No, I don't, but I'm only talking about me.
Okay.
And I thought you were talking about yourself. But I see now it sounds like you almost like separating that. You almost like you don't want to let your real self out.
No, I'm definitely can let my
You
real
know,
self
because
out.
you never talk about you.
I do talk about myself.
But can you talk
But
about
when you
you?
said
Me.
you said there's no sadness
In me.
associated.
No, I never said that word.
You did.
I did
you
not
said
say
there's
I
no
am not
sadness
said-
associated.
See, I
with it.
never used
And
the word
so that's when I
associated.
said, well, wait, when we
Tia.
hear it, there is association.
See, I never
even
used
for
the word
yourself,
Tia.
even if you don't want to
Are
accept
you
it.
all right, Tia?
I'm great.
I
Are
never
you?
used the word associated. I don't
Okay.
feel sadness. I'm listening to it. I'm not saying the word associated. I don't feel sadness when I preach.
Okay.
Listen, I'm only talking about me. I ain't talking about how nobody else feel when they receive it.
Okay.
I'm just about me.
I'm talking about the receivers.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Good.
But we were supposed to be talking about how
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the
people.
receiving. Yes,
So
and that's what I made clear.
So which makes my point is it sounds like you're just hiding from talking about yourself.
No, I have no problem with talking about myself.
Can we hear Natia more and how she feels when she get up and sing? Now, how it make me anybody else feel? How do you feel when you get up and sing? And is there any sadness to that?
Yes.
Because you said there was sadness associated to this podcast, but you couldn't explain it. Now, so what is the sadness when you get up and sing?
So first of all, I don't have a problem with talking.
Well, then please do.
I am. So be quiet so I can talk.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have it now.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. And you keep doing that.
Then let me say it.
But you didn't do it.
Because you already explained it. So let me say it.
And we're gonna stay there, right?
And we
on you.
I don't know where we're gonna stay.
On you.
Because this is a fluid podcast.
On you though.
So if we're talking, it could go anywhere.
Okay.
Now, like I'm saying,
you scared about yourself too.
I'm not afraid to talk about myself.
You are. All right,
anyway, at the end of the day, I just want to give this disclaimer. I have no problem with talking about myself. But in regards to what we were originally talking about, that's why I addressed how it is for us that is on the outside.
Right,
now, in terms of me, when I'm ministering, yes, I do express, I think, a balance of all of those different emotions. I do have sadness sometimes when I am ministering, or most of the time, there is a balance of all of those different emotions. Whenever there's a song that I'm ministering, that I'm singing, I go through a process with it before I even come to the pulpit or wherever it is that I'm actually singing, whereas though it is ministering to me. And depending on what that particular song is, like, I am going through the processes in the song. Number one, so that I can relate to what I'm actually singing about. And number two, so that we can relate together. So those things that, for example, let me think of a song. I can't even think of no song that I like. Encourage yourself. I think we did that recently. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Like, no matter how you feel, speak the word and you will be healed. Like, no matter how you feel, you could have had a bad day. You could be disappointed. You could have lost someone, whatever I've gone through in that moment. I could have worked a night shift and got off that next morning, only had a couple hours of sleep. I could have had some issues at work. Whatever has happened to me, all of those emotions, even though I find a balance of all of those emotions to express it. Number one, so that it's not difficult for, I believe, like the person that's listening to process, like, this person is going crazy up here. But I've gone through all of those different things. So yes, when I'm singing, I do have some moments of sadness. I have moments of happiness. I have moments of anxiety. I have moments of fear, because I'm a real person. And so even though who I'm ministering to, I don't want it to contaminate who I'm ministering to, but you're getting a full balanced person when I'm ministering the song. So yes, I do have moments of sadness, but it's a healthy, I believe it's a healthy portion of sadness. It's a healthy portion of happiness and joy. And it creates the whole person and not just an image of what I'm trying to portray to people to be like this happy, joyous person, which I am happy. I have a good balance of happiness, but I also have a good balance of sadness and a good balance of this, that, and third, just as you do. So yes, I do express all of those things. And as I'm preparing certain things or if the Lord gives me certain things to say, I have to deal with all of those things, all of the emotions that can be associated with those things in my processing, my human processing of it. So I hope that answered the question, because that's what you asked. Now we do have a comment and that said, you can't have one without the other. So she's saying you can't have, I think, joy without sadness. You have to know what's more appropriate in that moment.
That's what I was saying.
That's what I was saying. You ain't say that.
You said balance it. I didn't say balance.
No,
it.
that's what I
said. No, I said one got to be more present. You
that's
said
not
balance
what she said.
You said no. You didn't say what she said.
I said what she said.
You said balance them.
Yes, what she said.
She didn't say balance them.
Yes, she did.
Read it again.
She said you can't have one without the other. That means balance.
It does not mean balance, Tim.
You can't have one without the other.
That doesn't mean
that
balance.
Means balance.
It doesn't mean present. Tia, you can have four.
Okay.
Tia, 4 plus 6 is 10, and you can have 10 sticks in one box. One could be 6 of them could be red, and 4.
You have to know what's more appropriate in the moment.
That's what I've been saying.
That means You have to know how to equally balance your emotions.
Listen,
not eliminate sadness.
I didn't say eliminate.
You did. Eliminate this.
I never said that.
I have no sadness when I preach.
No. I
mean, there's something in there. There's some sadness.
No,
right?
it doesn't mean that. See,
Right.
you are mixing up the words.
You're mixing it up.
No, I said. No, let me
Sadness
finish.
could be there.
Oh, let me finish.
Should be a million people watching live. I'm not
back
sure.
to my son. I got to go kindergarten. 6 red crayons.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, I got to go right to the kindergarten. 6 red crayons and 4 blue ones. The 6 red ones and the 4 blue ones, both of them are present, but they are not balanced. They are there, but they are not balanced.
Properly using those emotions.
Let me finish.
Properly using them.
So now I said, I started saying when you pay a bill, you pay a bill with a certain emotion. I said when you have a funeral and you express joy.
You cannot have sadness when you're paying a bill.
I said you should not express sadness.
That's not. That wouldn't be balanced.
Let me finish.
That wouldn't be anything.
Let me finish. I know to you.
That will be eliminating.
That's to you. That's to you.
That's what you're saying.
Listen what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that you should not present a certain emotion when you're dealing with a certain thing. And you should present a certain emotion when you're dealing with a certain thing. So when it comes down to things that are more mature, like paying bills and things like that, it should be presented with an emotion of something that is not sad.
Which would
Let
be
me
what?
finish. Let me finish.
What would those emotions
More
be?
responsible. Older.
Emotion.
Let
What
me finish.
emotion would that be?
Here go a good emotion for paying bills.
Okay.
Anxiety.
So you're telling me
Having
you'd rather have people have
a healthy level
more anxiety
than sadness. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
I can explain why. Because human creatures are the only creatures in God's creation. We are the only creatures in God's creation who knows the day of our death. We know our end. The human creature, this is biology. The human creature are the only creature in God's creation that knows when we are coming to an end. We know we got 70 to 80 years. That's what we know. No other creature in God's creation know when they are going to end. Therefore, there is a behavior that produces anxiety when you know you're going to end. So when you know something, we are the only creatures that have that. And being the only creature that have that has created an anxiety. That's what anxiety is, by the way. And this is why animals do the things they do and we don't. This is why we are the way we are. This is why we try to enjoy life as much as we can. This is why we go on vacation. This is why we like to dress up. This is why we are in these social dynamics that we're in and date and want to have babies and want to get done in life and want to hurry up and get this music out, hurry up and get this word out, hurry up and buy this building, hurry up and buy this house. We only do that because we are the only creatures on the planet. We are the only creatures in God's creation. Everybody listen to me. The only creature in God's creation that knows our end. No other creation knows this. No other. Which is the production of our inner anxiety. Anxiety is good because it helps you do certain things. Anxiety is not a bad thing. Being overly anxious is a bad thing. Anxiety is not a bad thing. Anxiety is what makes the basketball player get up a little bit early to play, to exercise when they know they got a big game coming. Because they're anxious. This is what makes them stay up late at night and study because that level of anxiety. So that is a healthier level of anxiety that you have to have when you're doing certain things like this. Paying bills, being anxious. I got to make sure I pay this or this will get cut off. That's anxiety. I got to make sure if I don't pay this today, it's going to get cut off tomorrow. You bring that to the table. That's anxiety. So yes, I believe that you should have a level of anxiety when you're approaching these things. Picking up weight. Oh man, I'm picking up too much weight. This is going to be, I got to get in the gym. That's called anxiety. It brings caution. I'm driving too fast. I got my kids in the back. You feel anxious. I got to hurry up and get somewhere or I'll be late. That's anxiety. That's anxiety. If you look up the definition and the root of anxiety, it comes because humans are the only creature in God's creation that knows our end. Therefore, we try to fit everything in 80 years, everything in 70 years, everything before we know it's going to end. That's anxiety. When you are a leader and you got to push that button, when you're the president of the United States and you got to send people to war. That's anxiety. I mean, you got to do it. When you got to make certain decisions, when you just don't, that comes from anxiety. So anxiety is on the table. You ain't joyful. You ain't coming with that energy with a whole lot of joy. Yeah, we going to war. Like, no. So even if winning is there, even if being victorious is part of it, it's not the prevailing part.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to say. And that's how I take it. So yes, no sadness, but some anxiety. Yes, go for it. That's just
okay. I mean, it is what it is. I think that we probably can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
On this one, I think that this could be the concern again, like with all of us as humans in the way that we process our emotions. I think that this movie was supposed to bring out, like, for us to pay more attention to how we are balancing our emotions, because too much of a certain emotion can be detrimental to our lives. I think that, in my opinion, not even in my opinion, but even from studying it, that anxiety is a response of fear. And so living in fear, living in a constant state of anxiety is extremely unhealthy. But I don't think that it should be eliminated from, obviously, the emotions that we feel. I mean, we can't eliminate it. It just kind of is what it is. But I do think that a balance of all of those emotions are extremely important, including anxiety, including the sadness, the happiness, and all of those things. I think all of those things, if balanced properly, will help us to be able to face decisions a little bit differently without all the extra things that's associated to it. They kind of bring us down. So I think that that's important. But anyway, I think your initial point, you was trying to say that Joy had took over the circuit board and what?
No,
what were you trying to bring out from that?
So I was getting to the place where she used too much joy when they was in the locker room.
Okay.
And so in that sense, it got everybody else on the team in trouble.
Right.
Because it was too much joy, and she did not need to bring. It was
all joy.
It was just all joy. So she did not need to bring that emotion to the table at that moment, but she did not know.
Okay.
She was too
young
to know that she didn't know. So in order for her to know this, the coach had to say, you know what? Hey, we're not playing now. Let's get together. They sitting there, hey, y'all, we made it, taking selfies and stuff like that. They had no awareness that y'all not supposed to be playing in the locker room.
Right. It was all joy. There was no other emotion in that. And that was the problem to me.
She didn't express those other emotions. She didn't bring those other emotions to the forefront. Right. They were there in the control room.
No, but she was on the control board. They were in the corner.
Okay, so can all emotions be at the control board?
Yes.
And let me finish.
Well, I thought that was the question.
No.
Okay.
Can all the emotions be at their control board?
Yes.
Every emotion should have their buttons on the control.
Yes, and they do in this movie. They actually do.
No, they touch it at different times.
They don't. Wait a
minute.
Let me say what I'm saying. So in the first movie, which maybe you should go back and see, they show all of the emotions. There was a person each of them had a button that they could press. Each of them had a opinion that they gave, like, hey, who are we going to use at this time? And they balanced all of the emotions, and all of them were able to operate the board simultaneously, and that's what kept it all moving. This one here,
because you got to grow up.
Yes, but this one here, they got, not that you have to grow. Even though she was growing up, they lost the sense of we all still work together to balance these emotions. And so one person or one emotion took the whole, Joy took the whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
she didn't consult.
Yeah.
They didn't come together. She just said, forget y'all. I know what I'm doing.
So did he ever?
At the end, I believe they all wound up coming together. Yeah.
No.
So did they ever? What do you?
Did they ever?
Your question.
So did they ever? Were all of them ever on the board at the same time?
Yes.
In the old movie.
But
when the new movie, I didn't see the old movie. So when the new movie came, when this one Inside Out, showed up,
I believe the end they all were all made the decisions together.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so.
I think so. I
I
think
don't-
at the
I
end
don't
they
think
all
so.
kind of collectively made the decision.
I'm not sure. I'm not saying to use the word think. I don't
I'm pretty
think so.
sure that at the end of the movie, that was like the thing is that they had to let her grow up on her own, and then they all collectively like were responsible with certain things, and nobody was eliminated.
But I don't think all emotions can touch the board at the same time.
All of them, I believe, can touch the board at the same time.
We got to go back. Somebody who watched the movie,
or at least they can correspond with each other to make the decision. That's also how to get it. Like, so if anger was like, well, I think right now it's time for us to do that, and Joy might be like, okay, maybe a little bit, and then they would apply anger. But they collectively they balanced each other.
I'm not coming against the balance part.
Okay,
I'm just talking about the movie. I'm not talking about what the movie could do.
I'm not talking about what it could do either. I'm talking about what it did. I'm talking about what it did.
So did all of them? I'm not sure if all of them touched the board at the same time.
Regardless if they all touched it at the same time or not, what I'm saying is that
everybody.
Can I finish what I'm saying? Regardless if they touched it at the same time or not, they all. I'm trying to say it. So regardless if they touched the board at the same time or not, they all did correspond together to make the decision of what was going to be happening, whatever emotion was going to come into play. So regardless if each one of them had a button or not, which I think each of them were able to do that, they still, at the end of the movie, they corresponded together to find out what would be the best emotion for that time.
I agree with that. That's what I've been saying. All of them can't touch the board at the same time. But they
all balance each other to make the right decision for
sadness
that person.
Sadness can say, I got to take a back step to joy. And joy has got to say, I can take a back step to anxiety. So all these emotions, you do go through all these emotions. Should I be happy now? Should I be sad? That's all it's saying. So you do go through all of those things at the same time. But all of them cannot have their hands on the board at the same time. I don't think the board is big enough. And then you got embarrassment. You got all these new things coming. So was the board big enough for 10 emotions? It was 9 or 10. It was the board big enough for 10 emotions.
It's big enough.
And if the board was big enough for 10 emotions, so all of these things going to be touched at the same time? I'm not talking about all of them not corresponding, because that's what we do. That's what we do as mature people. And that's what I'm saying. You bring certain emotions to the control board for a certain condition or situation. I'm not saying that these things aren't present. I'm saying a proper motion to a certain situation should be presented if you want to have a healthy relationship with somebody else or to handle the thing you're dealing with. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying they're not supposed to be present. I'm saying all of them can't be up front.
And all I'm saying is the movie showed that when there was too much of one of those emotions, regardless of what it was, it was haywire.
Yep.
It was a mess. If it was too much anxiety, it was too much. If it was too much joy, it was immature.
Right.
If it was, if it was too much embarrassment, it was like this. If it was too much of that, it was like that. So what I'm saying is a balance of all of those emotions, to me, would be the answer, would be the best part for it, to me.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying it's not that the emotion was prevailing. You're saying that, a certain emotion was prevailing, aka joy, anxiety, embarrassment, sadness, disgust. What you're not saying that these emotions should not be present or balanced. What you're saying is too much of one is bad.
I'm saying that the balance of all of those emotions is important, because too much of one
is bad.
Is not bad, but too much of one can be
unhealthy,
detrimental to the person. To have too much of one that is controlling whatever the
You just don't like using
emotion.
the word bad?
I don't think it's a bad or a good situation. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's something that I just wouldn't classify it as
because you don't like the word bad.
It's not that I don't like the word bad. I don't want to use the word bad in the situation.
Why?
I don't think it's necessary.
I'm gonna tell you. So it was like the same thing you said about being sad. You just don't like you said y'all just don't like using the word sad. You just
this
said
isn't the same reference.
And now you're saying you just don't like using the word bad.
I didn't say I don't like. You said that. You said
you said you don't like using the word bad in a situation.
I said I don't want to use the word bad. You said I don't like it. This is not about like or not like.
So you saying you don't want to use the word bad in a situation?
I wouldn't classify this as good or bad.
Okay,
but if you'd like to, you can.
Okay, good. So
I'm not against it.
So good. Then so if your nephew or your 2-year-old baby was eating something off the ground, eating something off the ground. Are you trying to tell me that it and it's poisonous? It's bad for her. It's not good for her.
It's not good for you.
You trying to say that's not bad thing? That's not bad when disgust show up in you. Ew, don't touch that. Wash your hands.
not
and
good for you.
And you a germaphobe like that. You like, oh no. I mean, oh.
Yeah.
So you trying to say
That's
don't
not good for you.
You don't like. Oh, so you just don't like using the word bad.
I will use the word bad. I don't have a problem with it. I just would say that's
Not good for you. Okay. All right. Well, what's her name? Me and you. You guys, I think that's bad.
Okay.
I think it's bad when you know what I'm saying. That's why I would call it bad. All right. So we got that together. So it's so after I saw that part of the movie, I then noticed how she had to find a way to become part of a new group.
Mm-hmm.
And she had the talent too.
Mm-hmm.
And now the new emotions come up.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you start realizing who you really are and the depth of who you are, you get a sense of self. I think it causes a lot of people to make those decisions. Even
Definitely.
as adults, we got to make certain decisions when we have a sense of self. And that sense of self will cause us to make certain decisions. I think that she realized that she could play this game with the big girls.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, playing the game with the big girls, I think that she found herself really at a place where, her skill set was on another level, and which made her make a decision whether she was going to hang with the big girls or going to hang with her friends.
I don't know. I think that she kind of lost a sense of herself.
Okay,
who
she
she
lost
was.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think she gained one?
I think that at the end of the movie, I think she gained who she definitely is. But in the beginning of the movie, I think that she lost who she was, trying to avoid losing her friends. Like, it seemed like when she was getting ready to, because the whole thing was that she was getting ready to go to high school, right? She was going to the hockey camp in expectation to get on the team with her friends. Right before she went into the camp, her friends told her that they weren't going to be they weren't going to be in school with her, which caused her to become fearful, emotional, all of those things like that. Right there, I feel like she lost a sense of herself, of who she was, because then she tried to convert herself or change or find this new self to fit in to the group of girls that, yeah, she definitely could play with. It definitely kind of should have been a part of the team. But I felt more like she lost herself at that moment, right, because she no longer was who she was. And she started searching for all these other things to rebuild who she was, which I guess to a certain extent is what we do when we grow up. We start putting on all these other things that may not necessarily belong to us. And so I think that she lost a sense of herself, of who she was, and then she kind of grew by the end of the movie as to developing a new sense of her new self.
When you say she lost a sense of herself because of who she was, the fact that she was something meant that she really didn't lose it. It fell off.
Or she left it.
She
abandoned it.
Well, so when you realize that you're at a different place. So if I realize that I've grown, I'm at a different place in my life.
That wasn't her, though. She didn't realize she was at a different place.
She knew she was good enough to play with the big girls.
She knew that she was upset at her friends because they were leaving, and it caused those other things. But
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like that, yes. What you're saying, yes. But if she was doing that, then yes. But she wasn't doing it because of that.
You said she was doing it because her friends.
Yeah, like she wasn't doing it because she was like, oh, I had a moment and I am growing up, and
hers was because her friends.
Fear of losing her friends. Yes.
Okay. And so, okay, good. Excellent. So fear of losing her friends caused her to then have to make a decision.
Yeah.
As to what she was going to do in the future. Is that was it? Is that, I mean, how did you see it? How did you feel?
I thought that fear caused her, in the sense of thinking that she was going to lose her friends. Mm-hmm. She went into a state of fear and anxiety. It created a whirlwind of all these other emotions in her life. And she started operating in that.
Okay.
And falsely kind of found who she kind of was growing to be, because she started changing the way she walked, and she started changing like different things that she loved about herself or that meant a lot to her as a person. I can't think of her name.
Yeah.
But like she lost those things.
Right.
So
right,
no,
right.
I don't. I think that if it was the way that you said it, yes, like if she had that awakening, like, okay, it's time for things to fall off and for me to transition, yes. But she didn't follow that path.
Her
She
path
was
was
forced
more,
almost.
She was forced to go. She was forced to make a decision.
She was forced to figure it out. Yeah, she was forced to just figure it out, I guess. Like, cause I don't think she was like trying to get back at her friends. I think she was just hurt that they were leaving. She didn't know what to do.
Okay.
Would you agree? I mean,
well, when she didn't have to. Did she? Okay. So I remember seeing that part. My question would be, did they have any control over that? Did they have control over what school they would go to? Did she have any control over that?
did she?
Yeah.
I don't think
she had no
did.
control over that.
Yeah.
So now the situation made her, I have to make a decision whether I'm going to go left or right. And I think when she got out of dad's car and something, and she walked towards the school, and the girl said, "Come with us," something like that. I think
the emotion started taking over. The anxiety
started
and anxiety said, "No, leave them."
Yeah. Okay, good. And go with the other people. Okay, so when she had that, when she had that sense of self, is that when all the new emotions came in, or the new emotions started taking over?
Gradually, they started coming
taking over.
They took over the old emotions. Like once she decided once she made that decision that we leaving them, and this is anxiety took over the board completely.
Anxiety took over by then?
Anxiety took over that board, I believe, at that time.
Okay.
Because she made that decision.
Here is, I'm trying to figure out when anxiety took over, because I'm thinking that anxiety could not take over, and the way the movie was presented, anxiety could not take over until embarrassment grabbed all the other former emotions. Embarrassment, she was embarrassed, and so embarrassment was the big emotion that sort of grabbed all the other previous emotions, allowing anxiety to take over.
But I don't remember, well, at least in the movie, I don't remember embarrassment coming in until after. Even though I would admit, I don't see how she would be embarrassed by that.
But embarrassed, that's how anxiety took over, because embarrassment was big enough to grab all of them. And
but that wasn't it wasn't at that moment though.
I don't know when it happened. I'm not talking about when anxiety presented herself.
Oh, okay, I thought
I'm talking about when anxiety took over the board.
Okay.
Anxiety could not take over the board until everything else was sort of arrested by embarrassment.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, so you can be embarrassed by showing too much joy around big people, around grown-ups. You play too much, and then you get embarrassed.
But we didn't see embarrassment yet. Embarrassment didn't come until after.
No, embarrassment was part of the other group of anxiety and Inui and I forgot
the new group.
The new group.
Yeah.
But anxiety and embarrassment was the emotion that grabbed all the emotions.
After anxiety. So from what I recall, anxiety had already taken over the board. Then we start seeing those other emotions, and then we see embarrassment. Embarrassment isn't like out in the front, even though it definitely.
He did do that.
Not until after those emotions were kind of first, it wasn't like right up front.
No, it wasn't up front, but
okay.
So anxiety came in, and I'm not mistaken. And one thing about anxiety too, everybody, anxiety was it was anger, it was fear, anxiety. It was those, y'all want y'all to pay attention. It was anger, fear, anxiety, and I want to say embarrassment, but kind of embarrassment that did not have human facial features. Anxiety looked like a cartoon. Anger looked like a cartoon. Y'all pay attention. Fear looked like a cartoon. They like cartoon characters, real, animated, box face. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't have a human. It didn't have that human.
Realistic.
It didn't have realistic features.
That's true.
And so those emotions, and embarrassment was a little bit too, because embarrassment had a real big nose, and you know what I'm saying, pink. So it was like a big kid, but it really didn't look like a human. It looked like something different. And so when you see all those emotions take over those, and I want y'all to pay attention that embarrassment was a male, fear was a male, and pay close attention, anger was a male. So embarrassment was a male, fear was a male, and anger All were male figures.
Yes.
The other figures was female figures or feminine figures, or you know what I'm saying? They look like a woman.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have to, and this is a girl. And so, you know, what emotion is kind of taken over that will cause us to transition into something different? What emotion do we employ? What emotion do we, and do we have that sense of self and awareness as adults, even as adults, to allow certain emotions to put an emotion in the corner? To tell emotion, you know what I'm saying? You know, I should not be acting this way at this point of time. You know, I, as a man, Anthony Fliggins, had to say to myself, there are some things about being in my situation I should not be embarrassed about. And a lot of the things, y'all listen to what I'm saying, everybody, a lot of the things that sort of, that govern a lot of my decisions is because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I felt a sense of embarrassment about, and a lot of us go through the same thing right now, about being a certain place at a certain age. We embarrassed. Our family got more than we got. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be at this situation. We don't want nobody to see us like this. That sense of embarrassment, and in the church world we call it shame, comes over us. And once it comes over us, a lot of decisions that we do and a lot of things that we do right now is because we don't want to feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
We don't want to feel embarrassed.
Absolutely.
We don't want to feel shame.
Try to avoid it.
And we try to avoid it. But it's part of the Christian faith.
Okay.
Embarrassment and shame is part of our faith.
How so?
Because Jesus was completely shamed in order to take on the blame and the shame of all of us. He was shamed. In order for us to receive grace, a king had to be shamed, crucified with no clothes on. He took on our shame so we can stand in his honor. So shame is a part of this. And that's why the Bible says, whosoever believe on him shall not be ashamed. Shame is a part of the Christian dynamic. It's the part he took so that no matter what we go through, we would not have to feel shame, even in our failures.
So I have a question.
Go for it.
So in this process that we call shame, are you saying that that's our perception of what happened to him? Like we have classified that
The Bible calls it that.
It causes shame?
Yeah.
But is it classifying that like what happened is shame? Can we go to that? Because I want to see exactly like how it was like written.
Well, it was talking about him being on the cross and taking on he took on our shame. Just go to some words, and here we go again. We're going to scriptures, and we are not. We didn't have this program or plan, everybody. But what he did on the cross was considered shameful.
Right. No, but
that's what I'm saying. He took on that shame.
I hear you.
Yeah. So we can.
What I'm saying is that just our perception of? I mean, it's our perception. So what happened, right? And is it that our perception of it is like, okay, he was naked, so they shamed him, but not necessarily that he is shame or that are those emotions that we decided to kind of classify him at based off of like what we witnessed type of thing.
We're not talking about what he felt.
Right. Okay. That's what I was saying.
No, we're not talking about what he felt. We're talking about what he went through was shameful.
Right. From our perception, it was shameful.
From the perspective of a king. So when a king, he was a king that died a shameful death. He became those things so that when we as believers go through certain things, we would not be a part of that shame that comes from the guilt of sin. Because sin brings guilt, guilt produces shame. When you're guilty from something, you feel shamed. Jesus came along and he took on the sins of the earth, therefore freeing or rescuing us so we won't live in the shame of feeling guilty about a sin that was applied to us through Adam. So we don't have to live in that, because that feeling of shame is what the enemy uses to keep us in a place of bondage.
Okay.
Christ took that. So now, no matter what you've been through in life, no matter what you had to go through, no matter what you had to endure, you do not have to live in the shame of that, no matter what sin you committed.
Okay.
Don't matter what sin you committed. Christ took that. So now you could be free from the stain
Okay.
of guilt in the law.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. So, okay. Question. Well, not really a question. So, okay. So you talked about the characters that were men
Yeah.
or whatever. So I also noticed that Joy, she did have, like you said, humanistic features, but she looked like Tinkerbell.
Joy did look.
She looked fantasy, almost as though happiness is associated with a sense of, or gladness or joy is associated with a sense of delusion or fairy tale dust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Almost making it like, for a mature person or someone that's looking at it like, you know, it's almost like, yeah, I can't be happy. I can't be joy. Like, because it's almost, it's not serious enough, or it's fantasy. Like, it gives the perception of like a Tinkerbell, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that. I noticed that. I also noticed that. Well, you know, when you try to look at it and you see the author and you see everything else, like, well, yeah, I can't say that. Yeah, I was gonna say something different, because I was gonna say that I was saying that I would, if I was the author, I would make Joy pink. But since she was a girl and pink's a color, but that pink rose cheeks on emotion makes sense too. So I can't say that. But if I was one of the writers, I would probably change the colors.
The embarrassment
was pink.
And it was a man, a big man.
Big guy. Embarrassment's a big thing.
Right, it's a big thing, but it was a big man, and he was pink.
Pink,
and
big pink.
And his butt crack was showing.
That's embarrassing.
And so it's like it's right. Like, what's the word? Demasculinated.
Yeah.
A man, emasculated.
Yeah.
Like a man.
Yeah.
Because it was a whole thing about like real men wear pink and all of that, right? I'm just saying all of that is still goes into that.
So yeah. So that so when she was, so you recognize that part right there. I recognize, what else did I recognize? I recognize that I also recognize that, so y'all go watch the movie. It's a whole lot in the movie. We're trying to unpack it. And so when I also noticed when the previous emotions, sadness, disgust, fear, anger, and joy, when they tried to get back into, because they got kicked out of the control room, and anxiety took over, and they sent nostalgia back in the little room. She came out too early, and so so anxiety pretty much took over, and the anxiety just looked crazy. Embarrassment was over in the corner. I forgot what the other emotions were doing.
Boredom.
Inui, boredom. You know, just sitting back, just bada boom, bada bang. It really didn't matter.
Yeah.
So I noticed that what I paid attention to, what the thing that got me about the movie, we were talking about the movie Inside Out, too. What got me was when the other or the previous emotions attempted to reclaim the control room or get back in, two emotions was working at the same time: sadness and joy. Sadness was the one they put through the chute. You know what I'm saying? So sadness was the one that could actually fit to get there. And joy was on the outside, navigating, trying to lead the pack. And I noticed that sadness and joy together were attempting to get these old emotions, or these, you know what I'm saying? These old emotions back into the control room. That was a thing too. So the dichotomy between both sadness,
the balance
and happiness, knowing which one works, but you got to have the use of both of them in order for work. So one was working inside the control room, and one was working
inside out,
outside the control room.
Inside out.
You think that's what inside out meant?
No, I think it's used abundantly throughout the movie
Oh,
where
okay,
we see
okay,
Inside
okay,
Out. But that's
okay.
another example
Yeah,
of the inside and the out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the question now: is there any emotion where you got to exercise both of them simultaneously in order to handle something?
So in the first movie, that's what they pulled out. What you just said.
Okay.
They pulled out that at the end of the movie, the only way they could make it work was that there was an equal balance of joy and sadness in order to make any of those situations work. So yes, I totally agree that I think all the emotions
You need all of them
should work and should work in harmony together,
Right.
in a balanced way.
But do you think two prevailing emotions like happiness and sadness can be the prevailing emotions?
Yes.
In something that you're dealing with?
Yes.
So you can make something happen. And can you give an example?
I think that you can't I think that you can't have one without the other. I think that in life we should of course choose. I don't know. I guess I can't really say that if I'm saying that there should be a balance
You
of
can
the
say
two.
you can agree with me too.
I'm not agreeing with you.
You go ahead.
Not in this one.
I'm listening.
Not in this one.
That's what's happening.
But I think that
This is good.
it's important to have a healthy balance to
That's
both
okay to agree with me,
of
too.
those emotions, because I think that as you like to use the good and the bad, or want me to use the good and the bad, I think that there's
You go,
good and
Tim.
bad. I
Agree
think
with me.
there's
Come on.
good and bad in
Come on to the
both
control
of
room, Tim.
those instances. So yes, I think that it's good to have a healthy balance of both of those things. What was the actual question?
I don't know,
that you asked?
but I'm loving this part.
What
You
was
know,
the- what was the
let me glow
actual
just for a
answer
second.
that you-
So let me stop playing.
Okay.
Here it is what I was asking. Is there ever a time in your life, my life, our lives, when we need to utilize two opposite emotions at the same time to get something done? Two opposite emotions to get something done.
Yes.
And I think this is, and you hold it.
Okay.
I'm wondering, is it different between men and women? I'm wondering,
I'm
is
not
the
a man, I wouldn't know, but I would
because
imagine we still use
this
it
could be
similarly.
this could be the break in our conversation, just the male and the woman and how we process our own emotions. So it could actually be that. But do you know?
I think that good and bad, I think those opposite like polarities can be used in all situations. I don't think they are used in all situations. I think that we feel like we kind of need to choose more towards one. We need to kind of make a choice towards them. But let's see. So an example of both of them being used in a situation.
Or just two opposite emotions.
Two opposite emotions.
Opposite emotions. Yes.
So I guess I would just say in any, I don't know, you really it's hard because in every situation I feel like you see the opposites. I'm trying to think of like a specific situation. I mean, I don't know, like church. We in church, okay, why not? Like in a service, for example, I believe that it pulls on both emotions at the same time of a joy, which we may see in praise, but at the same time you see people like cry and praise from like sense of sadness, and then sometimes sense of joy. I mean, I think that you can kind of pull on both of those emotions. I mean, you see people go through bouts of anxiety and fear, and then turn around and have anger or have joy. So I mean, I think that those emotions can be pulled out in every situation to a certain extent, depending on what we're examining specifically. But I don't know. I think that it's definitely a balance.
Okay, so here is something I have seen, taste. I know I've been part of it, everything that's sad and glad at the same time. Go for it. I'm sorry.
But let me.
Go
I'm
for
sorry.
it. You go for it. Go ahead.
But I do in the same breath, and it's sad because it's not good because I hate when I do that. But I will say that I do believe that we should choose goodness, or we should choose joy, or we should choose love versus some of those other emotions. Like if we have a choice, I think that we should choose goodness or choose like love. I don't think that we should like lean on those other emotions. However, they are a part of who we are. But I think just the healthy balance of all of them are good. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. So here is when I've seen. This is when I have seen this. I have been through this. I have counseled through this. I have everything. Here is a part of our lives when I know that sadness and joy are present at the same time.
Okay.
A loving family. A loving family. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
A loving family, especially a dad, at a wedding of his daughter.
Oh yeah.
I've seen fathers like just break. I mean, break before they call me. Before they like, man, I don't want to, because that's my girl. That's my baby daughter. They happy. They moving on. But oh my God, they are so sad. They are they feel like they're losing a piece of them.
Absolutely.
And I have seen a lot of dads
Funerals too?
just get in the corner and just like, you all right? Like, yeah, I'm getting it together. But they sad because even though I know she got to go on. I know she got to move on.
You're
and I'm
losing
happy
a piece
for
of
her,
yourself.
but I'm losing a piece of myself. So happiness and sadness is present
That's
at
like a
the
funeral,
same time. Guess what else I know? Going to college. I have seen this. One of them tight families, they laughing at me. Those tight families come
real.
together. They tight, they bond and everything. And when you see them go off, it's happiness and sadness.
Would you not
at
say
the
that's
same
not
time.
at a funeral too? To a
I
certain
know.
extent?
I don't. Certain funerals when the funeral, I feel that in the funeral when the person is older. Older people, when a person is older or the person has been suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that when a person has been suffering or an older person, they are like,
It's a relief.
It's a relief. Even though I'm hurt, I'm relieved. So yes, it can happen. I've seen it happen at weddings. So these marks, I've seen it happen when kids go to college. I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen to me and Zella. You know what I'm saying? Them boys ain't going about their business. I love them boys, but it's gonna happen between me and my daughter. I'm already crying now. That's my girl. And I'm like this sense of, she's only 7. And I'm already feeling it. She's only 7. And I look in her eyes and I say, oh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we gonna be, yeah. So I'm gonna get all of you I can right now. So yeah, all my hugs, all my kisses. I'll get you my baby girl. And yeah, and I'm watching these things. So both of them are almost necessary for it to bring it. You know what I'm saying? For that moment, they're necessary for the what you call that thing when you give a toast. And you get that final word. No, not the final word. You get a word for not the final word, but you get the word for
toast.
You get the toast for somebody toast,
yeah,
and they
the
say,
toast.
we had all this. We ain't got this no more.
We ain't got this no more. It's hilarious. They're not saying that.
We ain't got this no more. So they got what they got. So
they reflect on those moments.
Yeah. You happy and you sad at the same time. And I watch it. I said, man, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting that as like she progressed in puberty, again, I don't know if I said this or not already, but as she progressed in puberty, less and less of positive aspects were in play. Everything was mostly negative. And the last thing that was kind of positive, which was positive, which was joy, was eliminated, right? So it's like by the time that she had pretty much was moving through her development, like she had lost all sense of positivity, or at least what we may kind of look at as positivity, which kind of seems like can happen obviously in those teenage years when the kids are kind of like, again, I'm just starting this new teenage journey with Chloe, but from what I hear, like the kids kind of start to be, they closing the door, like they don't want to really be dealt with, you know what I'm saying? It's like that it really seems as though, and even myself going through that, I don't think I went through some of that, but I wasn't like, disrespectful and all of that. But I think that there's a sense of positivity that's lost. And I think a lot of adults don't ever get it back. And this is kind of what the ending result is, kind of some of the things that we see in regards to like how people deal with like some of these emotions, their relationships, the negative and the positive effects of them, like in their long-term relationships. Like, they lose their sense of joy, happiness, gladness, whatever you want to call it, and stay in that anxiety, that anger, that fear, and it just kind of live there. And so like if they didn't get that control center back, if they didn't get that back, like she would have been one of those people.
Right.
They just kind of lingered in that land of nothing positive at all. No?
Well, you so
Is that not like clear?
you call them.
Yeah.
So was her other emotions, were they negative?
Yeah,
Is embarrassment negative?
It can be, yeah. Definitely.
And boredom is negative?
Can be, yes.
Oh, so you
If
see them as
used
positive and
negatively.
negative.
I see some of them as positives and negatives, yes.
Oh,
And they were more negative factors that could kind of lead to more detriment than positive factors,
So-
which was just joy.
So the embarrassment in our lives is a negativity.
It can be it could be portrayed as a negativity.
But too much joy at the wrong time can also be negative.
Too much joy at the same time at the
the
wrong
wrong
time
time.
could be. I think it showed up in this case as more of immaturity, which has some negative aspects to it, definitely. But there were just no other positive forms of emotions. That
So
were
okay, now we
showed.
disagree again using positive and negatives. So we disagree on that point.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. How did you feel when Joy? Let me ask you a question. How did you feel when Joy had to realize that whatever she created, that little flower, whatever she created, she had to tear it down in order to create something new? Remember, anxiety thing was like an orange color, and Joy was a light blue.
Yeah.
Joy realized that whatever she created in her past, Joy had to be the one to tear it down. And Joy went and pulled down whatever she was fighting for, and that's what I got out of it. And that's the part that I say, if I had to preach a sermon, that's what I would preach.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get
If
that.
if I had to preach a sermon, that's what I would preach. I would preach the fact that knowing everything you fought for, because the whole movie she was fighting to get back in control. When she got back up there, in one moment she realized, I got to tear all that down.
Because she realized that she was the only one that had a part in the creation of it.
No. It doesn't matter why. She just realized.
It does matter why.
Okay. So let's just say it matters why. Okay. What I'm saying, what the part that I saw in the movie was the joy disgust, fear, anger, and what's the other one? Joy and sadness.
Mm-hmm.
All of them discuss this flower like thing.
Yeah, but the thing is that they didn't. She realized that she didn't even take none of their things into consideration.
Okay, so let's just call it all joy then.
Pretty much.
So Joy found out that whatever they had, whatever she had, it was there. She was fighting to put it back.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie fighting to put it back, and in one moment she realized she had to be the one to tear it down. Mm-hmm. So she went over there. Not anxiety, not embarrassment, not anger. She went over there. So Joy destroyed what she was fighting for the entire movie. And when I saw that, I was saying, how many people understand that point? That you could be fighting for something for an entire season. You can be fighting for something for a lifetime. And then get there and realize, like, no, what I was fighting for really wasn't it. It's really not going to matter. It really doesn't have a real place. I need to make a pivot real fast. And I see a lot of people fight for position and realize I wasn't supposed to be in that position, but they stay there just because they spent so many time trying to get there. Mm-hmm. I've seen people fight for a relationship. And when they finally get in the relationship, they're saying, they only there because we've been doing it so long. But when you get into it, you realize this ain't it. And we are afraid to tear down the thing we created. And that's what I'm saying. And how many of us have enough strength to tear down what we created once we realize it was us the whole time? And even though I put a lot of time in it, it really doesn't matter moving forward. Mm-hmm. At some point, I have to have enough self-awareness to say, this is not going to work moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I got out of the movie.
I understand that. I think that that was also the point where she realized that thing that they created or that she created wasn't the little girl. She had built this character of Joy, like based off of what she thought was best for her. And they were getting rid of all of these old memories because of what she thought would be better for the little girl to remember. and would be more beneficial for her life. And then when she took the bigger picture that, wait a minute, I created this person, and it wasn't really for me to create. It was really something, I mean, collectively who she was would have created what it created at the end. But like ultimately, she had been the only one with her hands molding what this little girl would be, or what she was growing to be, based off of her memories. She was getting rid of old memories and bringing in memories that she thought that she should remember, and created her into being this joyous person. Not that there's anything wrong with that, being a joyous person, but she didn't allow her to create those memories for herself. She was completely in control of everything. So yes, absolutely. I think that it seemed as though she had a reflection moment where as though she realized that she couldn't be in control of her life. And she had to, those memories that she should have created the moment for herself, her life for herself, instead of her being the one that just molding exactly like who she was. So I feel like at the end she realized that she created a monster to a certain extent. She created this thing that had nothing to do with who the little girl really was. Little girl had created her own memories, her own emotions, her own beingness, and she couldn't walk in it because Joy had her hands on what the memory should be, and she should remember this, and she should be like that, and she needs to be happy at this time. And she just took too much control of her life, and she wasn't able to make the moment in her own for herself.
You talk about Joy as if Joy was a person.
Joy was in control, and to me in that moment.
But you're talking about Joy as if Joy is a person that was running her life.
I'm just using Joy because that's the name that this character was given in the moment. It's an emotion, but it's the character's name, so that's why I'm referring to it as Joy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
Okay.
but I'm talking the way you're describing it. Mm-hmm. So you don't see it as she was just playing too much, and she couldn't take all that playing into
because I saw the first movie too, so right. It kind of plays into the part of seeing those memories that Joy, the emotion Joy, took from her conscious and put it in the sea. And I think they showed that like them like rolling off memories and then attaching the memories they wanted her to remember into like that tree or like the vein or the vines or something, so that it would be more in the front, I guess the frontal lobe or the frontal part of her brain, so that she would recall that. So her hand being so heavy in everything that she did, I think that she realized that the little girl couldn't create who she was because the joy emotion had controlled everything and took her sense of self away.
Okay. Do you think there'd be a part 3?
I think it should be. I think they kind of left it open, I want to say, at the end where it seemed like it could be a part 3. Yeah.
Okay. So I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Hopefully that's the last kid movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, see it in a long time.
If you really go back and examine a lot of these Disney movies, regardless if it appears to be immature or not, like they are adult, and like there are real meanings, and like you really can break it apart just like this movie as well, honestly.
Okay. All right, y'all. So that's our take on Inside Out 2. We did the best we could, considering I saw the movie once. Don't remember the names of the characters, anything else like that. Didn't do no insight or study on it. Didn't try to add a whole bunch of scriptures to this. We just want to just get a thought or an idea, or have some just to talk about what we thought about this Disney Pixar movie, Inside Out 2. And so I suggest that I make a suggestion that all of y'all go see it. I think you're going to get something out of it. Take the kids if you don't want to be embarrassed about going there as an adult by yourself. Find one of the nieces and nephews and take them, and that's take the church trip. Take the kids to go see it if they didn't see it already, something like that. And y'all go ahead and see the movie.
I saw.
And that's it. Go for it.
A couple of people, actually it was random, like, because I didn't really think like some people would post on it, but I wanted to read this comment that I saw somebody post about Inside Out. Okay,
go for it.
All right, so this is from Jabari Johnson. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's like he's a musician, worship leader. He was at TD Jakes Church, quite a few churches now. I think he's at I can't think of the pastor's name, but anyway, he says, okay, hear me out. My friends and I watched Inside Out 2 the other night, and naturally the girls ended up crying during after the movie. Okay, we tried to guess which character we each related to, which I think is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
And his friends thought that he was anger. He said, I agree with that just a little, but the character he truly connected with was embarrassment. So it's so easy to be confident on stage, but the moment he says that he steps out and sits, his mind starts racing with thoughts. Who's looking at me? Will I seem weak if I cry? Will I be laughed at if I run? Will I sound crazy if I speak in tongues? Will I get tongue-tied if I pray out loud? It's wild how we let these intrusive thoughts take over when we should be focused on worship. Am I the only one with the struggle or the social anxiety? So I just thought that was interesting that he
called it social anxiety, but then mentioned it but he said embarrassment.
He called it social. So I guess to him, his embarrassment is triggered by, again, like I was saying,
anxiety.
Yes, all of those aspects kind of can show up in the form of embarrassment or kind of trigger from anxiety or fear naturally, in my opinion. All of those aspects kind of come from fear. But I just thought that was interesting.
That was good.
Yeah, that he.
Which one are you?
Of course, I would say that I can't just choose one of them. I would say that I really think, and especially my nature in general, I think that I'm like a balance of all of those emotions. I cannot choose one. I can't say I'm joy. I can't say that because I also am all of those emotions. So I can't kind of choose one.
If I had to choose one, if I had to honestly choose one, I would probably choose. Honestly, I would probably choose. Oh, let me think. So I'm not bored. I ain't scared of nothing. Anger, I'm having fun. I'm not walking around angry. Joyful, I ain't got time to do all that. If I had to choose one, that would be on the control board all the time. I can mask it very well. It would be anxiety. Okay. Anxiety would be the one. Anxiety, that's and I would be the one. And I could be a cool hand Luke on the surface, but inside, what about this? What about that? What if this? What if that? What if I don't do this? What if I don't do that? What if I ain't got this? What if I ain't got that? What if I don't make it this? What if I don't make it that? I got to hurry and finish. What if I don't get finished by this year, this time of my life? So I deal with that a lot. And often comes out when I talk about my age. I ain't got time. I'm 45 years old. I'm almost 50. I'll tell you, I'm 42. I'm almost 50. I'm 41. I'm almost 50. I'll do that. So it's almost like it's always tomorrow for me. So that level of anxiety is part. If I had to be one of these emotions, or had to, what emotion is out front, prevailing. What emotion is it's the vanguardian motion of all of them. It would be anxiety.
I think that would be for most people.
It would be anxiety. I think anxiety, and I also think anxiety comes with leadership. I do. I think a lot of leaders deal with these things just almost wanting to know, what the next day was going to bring, over preparing sometimes, and then try to couple that and balance that with some faith and believing in God and taking your hands off, allowing God to. So for me, it would be anxiety.
Okay.
That's what mine would be. It wouldn't be no embarrassing.
I think I bounce in and out of all of those emotions. Okay. Honestly, I think I bounce in and out of all those emotions, but I try not to live in those emotions. You know what I mean? I don't want to stay in those emotions. If it's something I'm anxious about, I don't want to stay in the anxiety or in the fear or even in the joy. The joy. It's just the balance of all of those things is what I try to do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that was good, Jabari. Everybody else, they no one else saying anything else about this thing. I think we we tap folk out. Folk probably going home. I think Karen said something. Karen said, I think sadness may come. At one time she said, Karen Chesley said, sadness may come in when a person thinks they are doing the right thing, but realize they are operating in error. She said that's when sadness would come. And I think she was talking about how do we feel when we're ministering. I think she said it at that moment, you know. So she said sadness because she was saying, what would be sadness? She said sadness may come in when a person think they are doing the right thing, but come to realize they are operating in error. So she said that produces sadness. Guess we're all a little different about how what triggers
perceptions,
and how we figure and how we see these emotions and what we call healthy and unhealthy, and considering that you know, and I believe that a psychologist would just love this movie. You know, I can't wait to hear. I can't wait. I don't know if Jordan Peterson did a podcast on it or not, but I can't wait to hear Jordan Peterson's his perspective on this. I really can't, and I think he'll deal with it too, because he'll break out something. He'll even unfold something like Pinocchio.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying in those you know, those type of movies. And I think that's where we are. And I guess recognizing and accepting, I don't want to say what a person is, but when I'm speaking like this in general, I think of when a person presents a certain emotion that's in, I don't want to use the word congruent, but that's in harmony with their nature, their attitude, their behavior. You see certain, and I know what I'm talking about, because you got people who that look like they big and tough and angry, but then they like Shaquille O'Neal, a big teddy bear. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Then you got the little person, you know, the little chihuahua, you know what I'm saying, that looks so cute and precious and just barking and biting everybody, just everybody. So he's just going at it, you know what I'm saying? And so you see these things like, wait a minute, that don't fit that.
Right.
You know, you look at it like, wait a minute, you should be nice. And Shaq, I can see if you was, you know, but Shaquille O'Neal, he's always joking, always, you know, jolly, you know, jolly green giant, right? And then you got this. Then you got some folk that's really, you know, small and just angry all the time. And I look at that, and sometimes I see certain people. I'm like, yeah, like that don't fit you.
Yeah,
you should be a little nicer, or you should be a little more aggressive, considering what you have going on. You know, and then some people look at it. My father was like that. I'm like, Doc, you a bishop? You ain't embarrassed about that? He said, Let me give you a prime example. My father was in a fight maybe about when he was in his teenage years, right? Got his front tooth knocked out. So my father preached his entire ministerial career with no front tooth.
Really?
I mean, I'm not talking about a little gap. I'm talking about his front tooth missing. Now, we're talking about Bishop Fliggins. And Bishop Fliggins, everybody know Bishop Fliggins. Bishop Fliggins, Sister Fliggins, self-employed people. They got a little change. They had a little change. He could have easily got that fixed. You hear what I just said? Fliggins could have got this whole. Fliggins could have gotten his whole. Fliggins had no problem. I'm not talking about getting insurance. Bishop could have went to the dentist and says, Doc, tighten me up.
Fix that front.
Tighten me up. And they had it. I write the check. Here go my card, and go home. And my father would have a fancy car. He had fancy shoes. He had all those things. And my father just would not get his tooth fixed. And I asked him a question, man, why are you laughing in everybody's face with that tooth missing like that? And I finally asked him. I just had to ask him. I'm like, man, that your tooth missing. You got that pretty woman over there you married to, my mother, and you got this thing going on. You know, come on, man, get that tooth fixed. You always smiling, taking pictures. Like, what's up with that? And he said to me, a baby don't have no teeth and always smiling. Oh. And I said, oh, what can you say about that?
Nothing. Nothing you can say.
He said, a baby got no teeth and they always smiling. So I guess my one tooth ain't gonna hurt nothing. Tell him, thank you. And he just wasn't embarrassed about anything.
And maybe that was a good thing.
Anything.
Yeah.
I said,
I appreciate that, actually.
I said, man, please. Man,
should he have been?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I think he should have had a level of embarrassment about walking around like that. You can do because you can do that when you ain't got it, but when you got it, fix it. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'm good." Tell her, "Oh, thank you."
I think that's hard. I think that's another conversation.
He said, "I gotta fix it."
Like-
Tell her, "Thank you, Flick." Hey, tell her, "Thank you, Andy." And mind your business. That's easy. Go on. You go mind your business. I'm good. And my father did not care. That he did not care, and he would laugh. You crack on him, he gonna crack on you. And he just going about his business. That's the kind of guy he was. Me, yeah,
Interesting.
not happening.
Okay.
Not happening. So that's
Yeah.
that's.
I
Go
enjoyed
ahead.
the movie though. I don't think that we dive into, I guess, these topics or these emotions much enough, even like in church.
Right.
I mean, like we mentioned, like, you're going through anxiety, you're going through depression. Like we dibble in it, but we almost make it like it's a bad thing or like it's something that's not, a human emotion, that they're not emotions that all of us have dealt with or do deal with or are suppressing or are magnifying or whatever the case may be. Like we just kind of don't really address it. So I hope that it's something that's more addressed, like in our community in general. Just like I think it's something that should be addressed so people, I guess, aren't shamed or don't feel a certain kind of way about feeling those kind of ways or expressing those kind of, especially in our kids now, like, 'cause they're all feeling those emotions as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Chloe could really relate to them. Well, I know that she was relating to it because she's going through that 12 to 13-year-old situation now, and it's just interesting. Like I just hope that we can talk about it more and not
Yeah.
shame it.
Yeah. So
not shame it.
yeah. I get it. All right. So that's that. So the good movie, everybody. Go and watch the movie. I heard the first one came out 9 years ago. Other one come out 9 years later. So whatever. All right. That's it.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah. If you get a chance to check it out, make sure you Marie said, but why?
But why what?
I don't know. What you say, Marie? I think she's saying what I think I was gonna say. Why should he be embarrassed, maybe?
About the truth?
Yeah.
My father? Or why would I?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to see what she was actually about to say, but I was kind of thinking that too, but I was like, that's another conversation.
Well, why should he
I
be
don't know. I
embarrassed?
guess that when things happen, like if your tooth is gone or whatever. Now I'm not saying that I will do that. I'm just saying that, well, I guess to whose standards does it have to be? You have to get the tooth replaced, or you have to, if your ceiling is missing, who says you have to put the toupee on it? Like, to whose standards, like, are we, I guess, conforming to? I mean, obviously, if you're in front of a certain caliber, just people in general, there are certain things that are expected for you to, you need to look a certain way or whatever.
So you're saying it's conditional?
I'm saying that if the restraints of people weren't so much, I think people would do things differently. I think if it wasn't so much pressure to be this perfect or this grand, like you just have to have a certain image, I think if that pressure wasn't on, people probably wouldn't do half of the things that they do, like wear certain things or get certain things fixed, or if they cross out, like they would just wearing glad, like they just would kind of just be more, I guess, of whoever they are. Not saying they don't want to get fixed.
It's cultural.
I guess you could say it's cultural.
It would have to be. It would have to be cultural.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's cultural.
Oh, it's cultural.
Definitely cultural. Definitely,
Societal.
yeah.
Okay.
To be more like the society that you see.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with it. I just think they should have got it fixed as they're preaching in front of people.
Yeah, society's terms.
Yeah. Yep. But that goes with the. Yeah, it is
It's
big. It's hard. It's hard because when I start seeing stuff like that and people saying, "Well, he don't have to do anything," right? But then the person who say that, no disrespect to anybody, I'm saying, will put got makeup on, lipstick, eyelashes, fake hair. Like, you ain't gotta do that. So
I think it's a difference, but yeah.
But you're still adding to the image.
I think it's a difference.
What's the difference?
If you're telling me that I need to get my tooth fixed because I guess it would make the people that I'm talking to feel better.
I didn't say that. I said you in front of people.
Or him, but I'm talking about, I guess, the reason behind it. Like, I'm getting it fixed so that you all feel a little more comfortable when you look at me when you talk.
No, the same reason you do, the same reason you enhance.
But that you don't know my reason for that. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but you do.
But it's not a cover up. So I think I guess you would have to realize what's your rationale for doing certain things.
Yeah.
So if I'm wearing lashes, or if I'm wearing certain hair, or if I'm wearing makeup or something like that to cover up if I'm trying to hide from something, if I think I'm unattractive, or I think I'm this or that, then that's different than we talking about something else. But if it's something that you do because you just like it, or they add some extensions to, you know what I'm saying, your eye, I think that's different than getting a whole tooth fixed, or it's different from getting implants, or it's different from getting fillers, or it's different from getting liposuction, or it's just to me it is. And again, it depends on your rationale for doing those things. I'm not saying any of those things are wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying that a lot of it is based off of what people think we should do. So now, don't get me wrong. If my tooth fall out tomorrow, I am going to go ahead and get it fixed for myself, because, you know, like she said, okay, let's see. Why should someone have to carry another person's concern of themselves?
Okay.
Good question.
This was given to us when we were children. This was implanted in us as children. When we were told as children, be nice to somebody. One thing that we teach the children to do is be agreeable to other people, so we can all live in the culture together. Because once children become disagreeable at an early age, so early in life, we already teach them, don't hit her, don't do this, sit next to her, dress like this on Easter, go get your hair cut for before you go back to school, don't be funky. You know, we do all this, so all this is embedded in us. And the only reason most of us deal with our children in this way, growing up, is to fit in with other children. Like we don't
Which
want,
which is not always acceptable.
We don't want, but
it's not the best rationale or reason.
But that's innate.
It's a unfortunate thing that was placed inside of us.
Okay, I get where you're coming from, but it's a biological thing too, because we need each other. We need to look at each other. We need to smile at each other.
I don't think that's what she's asking.
Yeah, I'm just saying where it come from. We need to accept each other. We need to embrace each other. We need to share, trade. I'm saying this is what we do. So certain cultures, they cut their hair a certain way, tattoos, they look like this, so we do those things, and it is embedded in us as a children. So when we get fit in with the society, it starts in pre-K. It starts in, you know what I'm saying? It starts early in life. So this is the thing that's molded in the fabric of humanity, because we have to live together. Because one thing no one wants to be, I can't say no one, but majority of us do not want to be, is in a world by ourselves.
No, but we just do not allow people to express their differeners.
Oh, but I get that part. No, I'm not coming against I'm not coming against our own individuality.
Right.
I'm definitely not coming against that, because I believe in that myself. But I am talking about the actual reason as to why we do it. We all do it, and we do it, every Sunday when we get dressed.
Yeah. And
we just do it. We all of us do it. So it's a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something, I guess, that was embedded in us, unfortunately. But I don't know. She said, why should someone have to carry another person's concern of themselves? Like, why do we care so much about the concern of other people as it pertains to our physical appearance, or how we act, or our personalities and things like that?
The attractiveness of the opposite sex. I mean, you can't say that and say I want a good-looking man. You can't say that. You're concerned about how you look in front of somebody else, because you want someone to look good for you.
That's what she's saying.
She said, why?
She's saying, why is it?
I'm telling you, this is why. Because you want someone to look good for you. You don't want nobody funky, stink, don't care. You want somebody, our attractiveness towards each other. This is why you should be concerned. This is the concern. So why should you do certain things and be concerned about another person? The problem is, in my opinion, just an opinion, y'all, that I'm taking a biological, and I'm doing a little groundwork as to how we got the way we got, but I'm adding a little, but I'm not saying this is all correct. I'm not saying that at all. Just giving a perspective here. But if you're concerned, if you want someone to look a certain way for you, I mean, why do you put nails on, and why do you dress up, and why do you, if it's a woman, why do you wear heels? Why do you enhance your beauty? Well, you do it because you know someone is looking at you. You do it to attract. You know that. And you want to be agreeable or attractive. Well, that's why on the other end. So this is why you should be concerned for the attractiveness of each other for the sake of relationship. Or else you would just get up in the morning, you don't brush your teeth, because it don't matter. Because when you start not mattering, you just start not mattering. And that just keep on going. Well, I don't care, let go. But why would you let go? And then when you look at somebody, you don't want to see somebody that you're attracted to just let go.
I mean, yeah.
You want them to do something right.
Yeah, I mean, I get that point of it, but I think in regards to, like we were talking about your dad, like with the tooth situation, like if his tooth fell out or whatever happened,
got knocked out
to his tooth, like it's like, why does he have to feel the pressure or the embarrassment? Why should he didn't?
Yeah,
but I'm saying, but the average person may.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that why in society is telling him he should.
Yeah.
You should be embarrassed that
no one ever said that, I don't think, but me.
You, but
Antonio.
I'm sure
Other
I know people probably
looking.
said he should be ashamed of himself up there.
Yeah, he didn't get it.
I mean, I can hear my family response now to a tooth being missing. He should be ashamed of himself up there with no tooth in his mouth. And it's like, I'm saying that approach right there of society thinking like how we want to see you, how we want to see the person. I want to see you with all your teeth in your mouth. I don't want to see you with a bald spot right here. I don't want to see you without no makeup on.
That's right.
Like, it's like, why it I guess the not the control, but the perception or the reaction of people is just is magnified so much.
That's why we do it. You saying why should we care? I'm saying the reason why we do what we do, because it's in us to care.
Right, because of what we've been taught to care about what other people think.
I'm talking about in human history.
I am too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we've been
that's how we stay together.
Not necessarily. We don't have to stay together because of that.
No, but that's why
that's not. To me, it's not.
So French fries and burgers and Coca-Cola and apple pies, American. Those are the things that we are attracted to. Certain these things that we go after. Certain these things, these you get what I'm saying? Certain these things that we are involved with keep us together. Certain things keep us together.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, the way we move, the way we dance, the songs that we sing. The culture. So the culture, the things that we do in culture actually draws our attention and bring us all
right. No, I'm not disputing that.
And I say, so it's in our human nature. I don't think it's unfortunate. You think it's unfortunate?
I think that those things do keep us together. I think my
what's your
point is that should it dictate who we are? I think we had this talk, but should it dictate who we are as individuals? Because it really, to a certain extent, it eliminates our individuality.
We go to another subject though, but yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
It eliminates our individuality when we are unable to walk around. If we don't want to get the tooth fixed, we just don't get the tooth fixed. But because our environment says we should, then we do. And so therefore, if I feel like I'm okay without my tooth being there, but the rest of the room says no, and now I have to kind of conform to the room. I'm just saying that you kind of lose a sense of your individuality. Yeah. And I guess in being in front of people, you do lose a sense of your individuality because you are in the forefront. So. Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
That is a whole nother conversation but I agree with the conversation though. But I agree. I don't agree with that person. But I don't agree with that. No, it's not. I don't agree with that person. I don't agree with that point. I don't agree with that point. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't agree with that point because we do so much to enhance for somebody. It must be in all of us, and all of us do.
So so you think that we should have a high sense of caring about what others think about us,
and we should also set a higher standard for how others look in front of us.
Okay. But
See,
you do think that we should care about how we are
I think-
presented in front of other people?
I think we can't prevent that. I think it should go to a greater level. I think it should go further. I do. I think it should go to this because I believe that. And so I'm telling you why my father didn't get his tooth fixed, by the way. Everybody, real quick. The reason my father said, first he didn't care. We got that out the way. He said he was embarrassed. He was never embarrassed. We got it out the way. The reason my father said he did not get his tooth fixed, he said, and he's gone now, so I can say this, and it don't matter if anybody mad or not. He said, Anthony, I ain't got no middle tooth, and my wife look better than all their other wives. That's what my father said. I walk in the room with the prettiest woman in the room. And he said, I ain't got no tooth. My face is all bumped up. He said, I ain't nothing. And I got that bad sister over there. And that's why. So he did it as a mark of like, I'm the man. That's how so Flickers ain't here, so I had to put it out there, Doc. You ain't here. So he said, I ain't got no tooth. I got the prettiest woman in the house.
Happy Father's Day.
He said, yeah, look at that pretty thing over there. And then he would say that. He would just go there. You know?
Yeah.
Then he would say, yeah, I told my wife to jump. She said, how high? I told my wife to run. She said, how far? Ain't that right, May? And he would just get off on something like that. So Flickers had a little antagonism inside of him. So it wasn't just that,
right.
So that's it.
Yeah.
But so my thing with looking, so look your best, be your best. And I pray you want the same for me. I pray that you want me at my best. That's inside and out. I think the harm comes when we only care about the external. I think that's where the harm comes in terms of wanting something from somebody else. Because I believe, I wholeheartedly believe this, and I believe this to my detriment. You are me, and I'm you. Mm-hmm. I believe that. People don't believe that. Mm-hmm. People believe, well, I'm over here, I can do what I want to do. No, you me. I need you. And I need you at your best. I need you to look your best. I need you to be your best. I need you to smell your best. I need you to feel your best. Whatever brings that, because you are part of me. And in being a part of you, it makes me.
Absolutely. But if their best is what they're presenting, if they believe that that's their best, like because they don't get their grill fixed.
I agree.
You know what I mean? We create for them what the best should be.
I agree.
We don't allow them to create it.
I cannot fight that point. I wholeheartedly agree. If I had a rebuttal, I don't have no rebuttal against you doing what you think your best could be. My rebuttal would be, are you honest about that being your best? Are you saying that this is
for them?
For them, like for that person. So for that person, you're saying this is. So I'm asking that person, or is that person just doesn't care?
I don't think it's necessarily that they don't care.
We had a young man in our church. I can't say his name. Just didn't care about how he dressed. Mm-hmm. Didn't care about how he smelled. Mm-hmm. Just didn't care. He just saying that ain't me. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna be like this. Mm-hmm. And he didn't put that sense of, there was no sense of self-awareness and manhood about who he was and who he was becoming. And I'm watching him like, man, you gotta we connected.
Yeah.
I kind of got to need you to be
and sometimes it takes for that person to try and bring those things out of those people, to try and bring it out of them.
That's what I'm saying.
Naturally, that may be who he is because of his upbringing, because of the examples he saw. That was the best that I guess maybe he could do, or that he strived to do.
Excellent.
Until he saw other examples and maybe made him want to change because he didn't, but ultimately,
excellent.
If that's who he is, and if that's who he actually is, then
that's who he is.
That's who he is.
Excellent point. Let me rebuttal that. But excellent point. Then, if you decide to be a part of a certain group, then go be that by yourself. But
what do you mean?
So if I want to be dirty, if I want to be dingy, have those moments outside of a group that's not like that. If you want to be that, then if you're saying I
Then
like
get out is what you're saying.
no, not get out. I'm just saying, but when you come here for a few moments, appear a little bit different. Have your appearance a little
Don't
bit
be who
different.
you are.
Huh?
Don't be who you are.
Be who you are. Be completely who you are. But I am saying make up. Put some makeup on who you are. That's all I'm saying. Because I have made up who I am.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And if just for a moment, if just for a couple of hours, it's because I am a part of this. And if I really enjoy what I'm a part of, and I really see that it's making me better, it's helping. Again, not just your external. Because everybody take this conversation and think I'm only talking about the way you look.
I mean, you did use the example dirty and dingy.
Yes, but that's also an attitude.
But you didn't use the attitude at this point. You just used the
If you
outer.
look like that, you're outer. But listen what I'm saying. I mentioned the outer, but earlier I said if I only cared about your outer, and I don't just care about the outer, I want you to be better for yourself inside and out. I definitely don't care. I definitely don't just care about the external, and that's when we fall apart. I think that's when in my opinion, just an opinion, everybody, I think that's when the problem comes in place. When you only care about a person's external look. You don't care about their heart. You don't care about their mind.
Yeah, but then you talk about them. I think that the problem happens when we don't take the time to get to know why is this like this.
Yeah.
And if you still decide to be like that, then okay, so be it. I'm okay with that because I've accepted you as who you are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then let me help you. Let me see if you want this help. Like, do you want? Is it that you desire this but you can't afford it, or is it a mentality because your mom and your this and all of these different people around you kind of have this kind of look or this kind of and this is the higher self. This is your higher self right now, or at least what you think is your higher self. So I don't know. I think the downfall comes when we start to tear the people down.
I agree with
and
that.
we don't we just oh, he's just dirty. Oh well. Anyway, he could do better. You know what I mean? And yes, maybe he can, but we just don't kind of take the time to kind of.
Yeah, it's a 2-3 way street.
Yeah,
and I think that's just an opinion between two people.
Definitely.
Well, three people.
Inside Out. Listen, if you have not, we should have got paid for this commentary.
I know, right?
If you have not checked out the movie, make sure that you check out. Do we have any announcements?
Love Investors Benefit Association.
Love Investors.
Listen, Love Investors Benefit Association. We already ready. We got it locked in. We're gonna be at the Silburn Arboretum. That's right, the Silburn Arboretum. We're gonna be there. Tickets are $150.
Yes.
We are going to celebrate our good friend Jermaine Gibbs. That's right. This year we're going to celebrate him, and we're going to give away some money. That's right. We're giving away some money. We are giving away money for people who want to get started in a business, who got a business idea. We're going to help fund it. This is who we are. We are blessed to be a blessing. I announce it all the time. I'll keep on announcing it. This will be our third year. Three's a charm. This is going to be our third year. I really feel like this is going to be a breakout year for this business. We have been through little ups and little downs. I can't wait to tell my story. I'm going to put it in my book when I start writing about these things, but I can't wait to tell people about it, just the mindset that's going on behind this.
Absolutely.
But it is a labor of love, and I thoroughly appreciate everybody who is being a help. And guess what? It could be you. That's
could be
right.
you.
It could be you. It could be you.
It could be you.
You could be one of the ones that is a part of this. So Love Investors Benefit Association. Right now we are giving. If you want to give, it is $ on Cash App, $ Join Liver.
Yes.
Again, $ Join Liver.
Yes.
You can be a part of this. We need the tickets are $150. That's right, $150. We're gonna start putting everything online. You're gonna start seeing these things happen more and more. We're gonna start seeing these things take place, and to God be the glory.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna really do this.
Hey, if you can do us a favor and drop your business name in the comment section. Can we do that? Can we start just drop your business names in the comment section? Because I think people kind of, when they hear it, maybe they think like it's not for them. Like you said, it's for you.
Go
it's
to the
for,
website.
It goes to the website.
www.joinliber.com.
Joinliber.com.
Go to the website.
Make sure
everybody.
you check it out. Like it's for you. It's here for you. Like this is inclusive. So make sure that you sign up and be a part of that. And we already have information right for those who who want to go ahead and apply?
Yes, by all means. It's right there on the website.
Yes.
You want to apply, you want to be a part of this, hey, go ahead and apply.
Absolutely.
We're going to start opening up we're going to start making phone calls and everything in the month of August.
Yes.
So go ahead and apply. The time is right here. The time is near. The time is nigh.
It's now.
Yeah, so go ahead and apply now. Like, hey, Fliggins, liver, we need this, we need that to get started.
Yes.
And we're gonna put your name in the hat, and we're gonna pull, and we're gonna see, we're gonna move. And if you're one of the winners, you know what I'm saying, then we will celebrate you.
Okay?
That's right. So Love Investors
Yes.
Benefit Association is gonna be good. I'm excited.
It's gonna be a time.
Let's do this.
It's definitely gonna be a time. Listen, thank you all for joining us for this episode of Pastor Anthony Said. I feel like it's something else that
We got it all out the way.
we got it all the way.
I ain't
Okay.
got nothing else to say.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on this episode of Pastor Anthony Said. Listen, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to join us tonight here on Pastor Anthony Said. We are your spiritual podcast station, and we just want you the uncut, the unblocked, and the unscripted. We're the only place in the podcast universe giving you a balanced approach and a look at the other side. Everything from A to Z. Listen, make sure you check out this episode. It'll be available Tuesday. All new episodes available on Tuesday. We love you. Thank you for loving us.